Oh, right. Checking on Wimkin, seeing if it's going to kick on here. Yep, Wimkin is live. We should hear an echo. I'm going to turn that off. And wait till we get one viewer on Wimkin. We are live on Wimkin. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Matthew Spear here with a very special guest. My son Ethan is going to be with us in the house, in the hizzy. Ethan is a big fan of politics, surprisingly enough. And as I rejected everything from my father, he seems to be embracing it. So either I'm doing a decent job or something else. We're going to get a bunch of people on here. By the way, folks, yes, it is official. We have a Christmas sweater.
Buy it now.
People were so excited, man. It's going to take 2 weeks to make. These things are actually knit sweaters. It's not that cheap ass stuff. I have to watch my mouth tonight, buddy. Like sweatshirts. This stuff is actually, like, when you zoom into it, you can see it's a really nice sweater. These sweaters are like $90 at Men's Warehouse. So they're pretty nice, man. So if you want, and you want to get a good looking Christmas sweater, it's got dummies on the side sleeve. It's got the Don't Unfriend Me logo on the left. It's got the Trump logo at the bottom, and then Dumb Nation. So something else we want to show you. Ethan's going to introduce a new t-shirt design that will be going on sale tomorrow. I think people are going to be very, very happy. We'll get everybody here. Good to see Patricia and Michigan in the house. Everybody's saying hi, Ethan. Hello, Ethan. Hello, Ethan.
Hello.
Yenny's passed out in the back. We will be back in 3 minutes. Let's rock and roll, and we'll see you in 3.
See ya.
In 3. Now, E-Dog.
Yeah.
When this goes, and you'll hear a pause and the music will stop, you got to say, step into a Wimkin.
Okay.
All right? It's our thing. So you haven't done this before, so here you go. You're the honorary guest. You got to go deep, though. You got to find it.
Okay.
What?
My voice has been holding, so okay.
Oh, stop being a baby. Just do it. Here we go.
Stop into the Lincoln. I can't.
Ethan, I can officially say that sucked.
Failure.
Step into the Wimkin. I don't know what you said. You're like, schlep into the rim rock kin. What?
I'm trying to go deep. I can't.
You did fine. Here, you know what? I believe that a redemption is in order.
No.
Here it is.
No.
Redemption.
Step into the Wimkin.
Yeah, much better. That was actually well done.
Yeah.
Being so confused, you feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. But just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party.
Hey, Ethan.
Yeah.
But what? What
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, Father.
Yes. At your service.
So, still points. in studio. They will have new songs in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
More music.
About me.
What? Wait, what?
Make one about me.
Yeah, well, that would be a short song.
Talking about short. I am short.
Well, that's why I said it, but I didn't want to say it.
Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
That I hear most often, that I always try to help people connect the dots, is what is past is prologue. And although Shakespeare, not my favorite, it's an interesting thing when you look at 1980 and the crack epidemic and what the United States government was involved in with the Contras.
No kidding.
So I don't understand why people are so shocked and they call Roseanne a conspiracy theorist. Because there's evidence in the past of the government getting involved in this, and there's plenty of books on this, and you can read this.
Hey, here's what I think. I love your show, by the way, Matt Spear, and
Thank you,
watched
ma'am.
you. Just discovered you about a week ago.
Ma'am,
And I
ma'am,
went, oh my
no,
God, this
you're-
guy's a genius. The facts he can
Oh,
spew.
God, I love you.
You can spew fact, and that's the sign of a genius.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I appreciate you asking me that.
So
And,
you just made my
I do
life.
remember back when they were bringing the crack cocaine into the black neighborhoods, and that proved that the CIA was doing it
Yes,
because
ma'am.
they were grooming that population, and they've been.
Transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show.
I won't tell no lies. Back up on the facts with truth.
Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. My little one is here. Ethan, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show, buddy. It's good to have. It's good to have you back. Are we going to be a dork tonight, or are we going to?
Yes or yes.
All right. Well, it's better than not being honest. Leroy shrunk. Ethan has more hair than Leroy. Let's go into. Do you want to announce the new shirt?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yenny over here has a new shirt, and it is amazing, and you should buy it right now.
You can't buy it. You can't buy it right now. It's
Break
not
the
gonna-
walls of physics, and buy it right now.
No, the physics won't help in this situation. It's not even online. So how about tomorrow?
Buy it tomorrow.
Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Okay, because
They-
everybody wanted a Yenny shirt.
You need to.
Amy was working on a contest. Now, this contest is still in full effect, but it just, when I get inspired, so I started reading everybody's submissions, and I'm like, okay, they're all too good. I need to kind of put them all together. And somebody had mentioned Donald Trump hair and all this other stuff, and I'm not going to put Donald Trump in a female cat, so I'm just not going to do it. There's certain things I will not cross the line, but I think everyone will be happy with this. And I don't want to, Amy, this was her vision, and I don't want to upset Amy. So Amy, if you're watching, don't get mad at me. It just felt real good to do this. So what we could do is do this one, and then we'll also do the contest version. But here is the official Yenny the Cat shirt.
It's a W.
Yeah, it's a W. Good, Amy. I'm so glad because I thought we kind of got it all. Behind Yenny is a neon sign that says "Cats, Cats, Cats" with a Playboy bunny cat in the background. Yenny covered in diamonds and on a stripper pole, nonetheless, with magic dust all around her. And then at the bottom of it, a cat sitting in a heart. Now, people might ask, Matt, What's AI? There's the only thing that's AI is the actual cat's face. So everything else is generated by moi. The lettering, the writing, the sparkles, the neon sign was hand created in Photoshop, and so there it is. There is the new Yenny shirt. It'll be available tomorrow for sale. It'll be on everything. Yes, we will put it on long sleeve, short sleeve, t-shirt. It'll be on hoodies, and it'll be done. Yenny the cat is official. What are you pointing at?
The shirt that wasn't there.
Oh, that went away? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how much is it? Well, most of our shirts, I think, are $29 for male or female, and then you go larger size. Once you get past XL, I think it goes $1 a shirt up. So it's the cost of all of our other ones, and then the hoodie and everything. So I'll have it up there for you. Welcome to the show. We got a lot of people on, which is great to see. We are over on Wimkin, so hello to our Wimkin people, Rumble people, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and who else am I forgetting? Rumble, Wimkin, Facebook, Twitter.
Do you still do Twitch?
YouTube. I don't do Twitch anymore. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting? I don't know. Bobby Richardson, donate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Bobby Richardson. You are amazing.
You are the goat.
We have a few goats, but she's definitely a goatess. Like she's up there.
13 minutes into the show and we're already halfway because of
little under half.
Miss Bobby Richardson.
Yes. All right. So Ethan, why are you here tonight?
Because nobody was on, and I guess I'd be the best in the DUM show, so I'd take their places.
Well,
I'm 3-1.
Olivia needed a night off. Leroy and Amy deserve a night off too. So does Liv. And Ethan was just in the room, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to come on? Because we haven't talked about the election, so we'll talk about it." Because I love his perspective. James says hello. Everybody's saying hello. Amy Bordeaux says, "I love having Ethan on." Do you need the password?
Yes.
5150. Okay. Hey, do me a favor. See this? Hey, look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Take your mic and go point it down towards you a little bit. Yep, perfect. Say something.
Hello.
That's fine. Don't ever do that again. Just hello. You're not a Japanese geisha girl. What is... So, what did you just play?
Huh?
You playing games over there? What are you playing?
No, I'm looking at the election to see if Arizona or Nevada came in yet. They have not.
So Ethan, hey, knucklehead, can you tell people how old are you? I don't
11 and a quarter.
You're 11. So you're almost 12. You're almost 12. You'll be 12 in, God, that's 8 months, dude. That's a while. Yeah, it's a while. So he's not 11 and 3/4. You're not even 11. You're like.
I said I'm 11 and a quarter.
Okay, that's bad. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so you're 11. You're not close to 12. But It doesn't matter. You're 11. Why politics, dude? I mean, you're totally into sports and like huge. And we love watching our sports. By the way, Avs play the Jets tonight. They're 12-1. So, we got to play the Jets. That's going to be an interesting. But McCarr's not hurt. Lecky's back. Anyway, so you're into sports, right? What else?
I'm into school a little bit. My grades came out today.
Where are you at?
I have no idea. I didn't check. I was actually waiting to come home, and I forgot to ask Mom or you to check.
Hey, Libby! We're going to find out.
Mother, coming once, coming twice.
Yenny shirt will be available tomorrow. I'll let you guys know on Facebook. Livia's going to check for us. Hey, Liv? Ethan got his grades, and he'd like to know where they're at. Can you do that for us, please?
Yes, I actually just looked at them.
What are they?
Would you like to tell us?
Yes. Let me go grab it.
Mom's literally a goldfish. She's like, I just looked at them. Can you
like,
tell us? Sure. And then she's like, I got to go get them. Shirt will be available tomorrow. So we're going to go tonight. We're going to go over some of the election stuff, but I want to get your perspective. So some of the things that you're into besides sports.
I mean, like I'm into video games.
Oh, here's Mom. So come on over here, Liv. Your light's on, by the way. You're blinding me with science.
Come over to me.
He wants you to go over there.
I'm better.
Oh, dude, please.
Yes.
Please. You're not. Okay, okay. Ethan, let's hear him.
Okay. A minus in English.
A minus.
Yes.
Okay. Is that a drop?
No.
That's a hold, right? That's a hold.
No, it went to a B. I got it up to an A minus.
Nice job, buddy.
I have science, which is a drop. I had an A plus.
Wait, a drop. That's you can't drop lower than an A plus. Drop means it went down or it went up.
Yeah, I had an A plus in science. I now have an A minus in science.
Okay, why did it go down?
I think we did this thing. I forgot to put a few dates on them, and he took away a few points.
All right, what else you got?
A plus in gym.
Good.
A minus in alt. Big gang.
Huge. You had an F in that.
Yep.
But it was just because a couple of assignments.
How?
What?
I have a B in math.
How do you have a B in math?
I don't know.
Don't relax. Look at me. Stop. Breathe. You're fine. You missed an assignment. You'll get it back. No worries. Remember we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Things don't go your way. Take a deep breath. Move on. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
B plus in history.
Okay. Is that a down? Did you go down a little bit?
Yes, I had an A. I think an A.
Okay. So you went from straight A's, close to straight A's. Well, actually, no, because art wasn't doing too well. And then what else?
Chorus is an A plus.
What is?
Chorus.
Chorus is an A plus. Okay.
Get better grades than your sister.
So you need to talk about math, find out what happened, and that's it.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're straight A's. And this is the half point of the year, right? So you've still got 2 more quarters to bring everything up.
No, I got 3.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, this was the end of the first quarter.
Oh, dude, forget about it. It's the end of the first quarter. You'll be fine. Just reapply, okay? I appreciate how you handled that when you heard you got a B, because I know math is your strongest subject. And honestly, you probably bonked a test. But now you got to double down. Got it?
Yes.
Good job. It's a decent report card. Give me Hayden's. It's a decent report card. Hayden, Earth Science, an A. Algebra 1. Oh, excuse me. Earth Science, a C.
She got that up.
It was
It
a
was
what?
lower than a...
It was a D.
Yes.
She's doing better. Algebra 1, A plus. English, honors, B. Health, A plus. Theater, A plus. Geography, A. Chorus, an A. That's how I call my daughter.
I got a higher grade. I got a higher grade.
You got to be in math. Check yourself.
I got a A plus in chorus. I did better.
You got to
than
be in
him.
math. Check yourself. When you come back and get it higher, you can start bragging. Where's Hayden? All right, we'll get Hayden in here. So congratulations. Those are good grades. I want to see that B fixed. B is, you're not a B player. So in math, but good job. All right. Congratulations. Good job. Did you do your best?
Yes. I think probably like dipped a test. I remember getting like an 82 on a test. That's probably what, because I used to have like an A, and that probably took some from my grade.
Okay. Well, now you know what you need to do to fix it. So go talk to your teacher and see what we can do about getting that A. Listen, the straight A's is your thing. I've told you, B's are better. That's my focus with you guys. And if you bring home straight A's, so if you're happy, are you happy with the grades? Were you gonna cry over the B?
No,
You shouldn't have.
just a little bit mad.
Well, then the only person you have to be mad at is not the teacher. Okay. Hey.
Still want to go to your awards thing?
Hey,
No.
did you get your? I saw your grades.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations on your C on Earth Science, getting it up. Hey,
Wait, that's not up. That's down.
congratulations on failing then.
I thought you had a decent. I had a C plus. That's why I was so disappointed.
All right, listen to me. Your grades are all A's except for Earth Science. I've told you I am a plethora of knowledge with earth science. Let me help you study. If you pass the test, you'll pass the class. Let me help you. Good job.
Also, Hayden,
Kate, hurry up. We got a
you
show
know
to do.
how you know how you have an A in chorus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got an A plus in
Wait,
chorus.
no, you did. No
Yes, he
way.
yes he did. He got
No,
an A
'cause
plus.
he had a 93.
He got an A plus. He went up.
I'm texting Miss Washington.
Yeah, well, fix our science.
Womp womp, get
Hey.
middle.
Hey, Hayden, if you can find your way geographically down to your room since you suck so much at earth science, let us know.
How did you get an A plus in chorus and I didn't?
I'm built different.
He says he's built different.
Okay, first, Miss
Get out.
Washington doesn't like anything
Get
better
out.
than- And number
Close the
two,
door. Holy Lord.
She's not gonna stop yapping about that.
Yeah, you had to rub it in, dude. See, what you do is you come under the radar. You gotta learn a few things. All right. So listen. So obviously school.
Yeah.
Math. You're gonna get up. I believe in you.
Yes.
So now, what else?
Video games. Really into playing like sports. Like I know, like a big fan of watching, big fan of playing.
Yeah, because you're doing flag. You did karate for most of your life.
Doing baseball and flag football now.
Okay.
Have a lot of friends like watching movies.
Pokemon.
Yes, Pokemon. Yep.
Okay. Why politics, dude? Because this surprises me. Like this really does. Like all of a sudden, you just go, "Hey, Dad, I want to." Like you watched the entire election. You were up.
I
So-
mean, like having a family that really loves politics, and then also having a dad who does a podcast about politics. I mean, like, and watching the news for dinner. I mean, like it's like really the only thing to watch. And I used to be like, can we turn on something else? Like when I was like 9, 8. But ever since I've been like 10, I've been like pretty interested. And now ever since like June, when around like June, I really started getting in to politics. The DNC really got me going, and then the first assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I'm like, yeah, I'm going off.
Yeah. That you weren't very happy at that point, were you?
No.
All right. So walk me through your 2024 election reaction. This is huge. I mean, because you started at 6:00.
I remember sitting down like, okay, Ethan, brace yourself. This is probably going to get a little bit boring because you're probably going to be watching for at least 7 to 6 hours. And
Well, hold on. Let me scoot back. I apologize. When you started watching, we obviously know who you're rooting for.
yeah,
Okay. And have I pressured you to support anybody politically or political beliefs in any way, shape, or form?
no,
You sure?
yes.
Can you tell people what I say when it comes to politics? Is there anything that I tell you you have to do?
Don't be a liberal and be a stupid liberal.
I don't think I told you not to be a liberal.
Don't be a stupid
I told you not to be a leftist. There's a difference. And don't be alt-right, right? Just don't be an extreme of anything, right? Try to be moderate. But
Yes.
yeah, I don't think liberal leftist is what because liberal. There's nothing wrong with being a liberal. There's nothing wrong with being conservative. Okay. So do you think I forced you to like Donald Trump?
No.
Have you heard me be tough on Donald Trump?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But you also know that I'm complimentary. Okay. So you were rooting for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Why?
was. I mean, like, compared to Kamala Harris, I mean, like,
Vice President Kamala
Vice
Harris.
President Kamala Harris, like, she has the border, first of all. Like, people are complaining. People are eating cats and dogs because they're letting people into the border. And
Did you hear the cats and dogs song?
they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat. Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So illegal immigration and the border is a big one.
Inflation. Like, I've been going to the store. We get like the Bale toilet paper that it's like $20 for 8 rolls, and I'm like, what? Because I just want to have some toilet paper and I don't want to spend $20 for it.
Yeah, it's expensive. There's no doubt. Inflation's horrible. What else?
Taxes, crime.
How do you feel about what's going on in the Middle East with Israel?
I don't like it. I support Israel, and I still think what they did with the phones is kick butt. Like that is the ultimate like video game, like Call of Duty mode.
Yeah, it is. It's like
Flip phone bomb.
and pager. Yeah. So obviously a big deal.
Yes.
As far as Ukraine and Russia, not necessarily as much of a focus as it has been over the last few years, but or the last 2 years prior to this one, but obviously something we're concerned about. Anything else in the election that you're concerned about? That you were concerned about?
President Donald Trump not winning.
Yeah, tell me about that, guys. So that was my next question. So when you sat down and realized, okay, I'm going to be here 8 hours.
I'm like, okay, we have some good odds. I'm looking at like the polls and like the percentages and the votes at the bottom of the screen.
Right.
And at 7 o'clock, I am just chilling and I hear Brett Bale go, and the votes are in, and I'm like, let's go.
Right, let's go.
And I see he wins. I think it's Indiana, Kentucky, and then she wins Vermont.
Correct.
And it's like 23 to 3, and I'm like 33? 33 to 3.
No, 33 to 3. No, 27 to 3.
Oh, 27 to 3.
You had it right, and I was just giving you your 3 because you said Vermont, and there were 3 points, and you're absolutely right. 100%. That's the order that they went. Go ahead.
And basically, so I'm like, okay, good start. And I'm like, of course, Pennsylvania's not going to do it. It's like the biggest state that there is right now. And I'm just waiting for all of the big states, like you got North Carolina, Virginia, the wall. And I'm waiting. And I'm like, okay, they're late. There's only been 3 states. This is kind of odd.
Right. So what were you thinking at that point? What's
I'm
going
like,
through your head?
Why are we only getting 3 states and I have to wait another hour? And then the hour passes by. We get like, I think, we get a lot of states. I think
Did. Florida came in.
Florida came in big.
You started seeing a lot of the central time zones
We
start
got
dropping fast.
We got South Carolina. I think Maine.
Louisiana dropped.
Louisiana.
No, Louisiana didn't drop until the second drop. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think we also got Alabama. We got Alabama.
Yes, we got Alabama.
South Carolina.
Yep.
I think no, we didn't get Ohio.
No, Ohio.
We got West Virginia. I remember.
Yeah,
we got
WV. Yep, West Virginia hit.
Yep.
And Virginia was shocking because in 2020, Virginia came in 3 minutes, and everyone. But Virginia, I mean, Donald Trump did very well in Virginia. And a lot of Amy said that she heard some her friends were voting for Kamala, and I was like, oh God,
He got 46.62.
Yeah, and she was what, 52.3.
She was 51.8.
51.8. Okay, so it went down a little bit. They were still counting. So honestly, that in Virginia, that's actually pretty good. Surprisingly enough, anything inside of 6.5% is actually fairly decent. And he did that in Washington. He did that in Oregon, and Virginia's on the precipice of turning red. If Governor Youngkin runs in 2028, Virginia will go red, but so will the blue wall will once again still fall, and I think we'll get some northeastern states. Okay, so you see your first drop, and this is your first real election where you've cared. So you see Trump has a huge lead, right? Because you're like, look at all these numbers, right? Of course he's going to win, but it's kind of fake because and you're smart enough that those big states are just looming.
I'm like, okay, Ethan, don't get ahead of yourself. We have New York and California still.
Right.
please. And then he's up by like, I think it's like 112 to like 26 or something.
That's 23.
23.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Right?
And then
Because you're getting excited, right? Because you're like, well, wait a second, he's almost a third there. In fact, he is.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, okay, this is looking really good, but you got to be careful because of New York, California, right?
Yeah, then I remember we got Arkansas. 9 o'clock came. We got Arkansas, Mississippi, I think.
Yep. Then Louisiana dropped too.
Yep. Then Louisiana dropped. I think we got Tennessee.
Yeah, the middle of the country. Oklahoma came in. Nebraska's 4 came in. Yeah.
And then we got Texas, and that's when we went up. I think we got 192.
Yeah, he was huge. He was scratching 192 or 196 because I think the Dakotas came in too, and that put him over to 196.
Oh yeah, Dakotas came in. We got 196, and I think she was at like 7. She was in the 70s at that time. She was like 78, 79.
Right, because New York came in by that time. I thought.
New York.
No, not New York. Massachusetts came in. Maryland came in.
That's when like the up top states. That's when like Maine came near. That's when like I think New York did come. It came after Texas.
Yeah, it absolutely came after because it was so freaking close.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got this amazing race that's starting to close in, and California is going to drop sometime because you're going to hit that 10 o'clock hour, and then you're going to start watching for Cali, and knowing that those 56 electoral votes are just a gut punch. So you're watching.
It's actually not. It's not 96. It's 54.
No, I didn't say 96. I said 56. It's 54 for California?
Yes, 54.
Yeah, I didn't say 96. 54. So I said 56. So it is 54. Cool. Thank you for correcting me.
Sorry.
Why are you sorry for correcting me?
I don't know.
Was I right?
Yeah. No.
No, I was wrong. So you corrected me, right? So you're right. So no reason to be you're sorry, right?
Yes.
Don't ever frickin' do it again, Ethan. Just kidding. So now that we've got that, are you feeling? Were you scared that he was going to lose?
Yes, at the beginning, and I saw this big lead, and I'm like, okay.
How worried were you about Pennsylvania? Because I know
I was very worried because I'm like, this can change a lot because 19 points can change a lot. Like it might not. Yeah, 19 points. Like it's big.
Well, absolutely, it's big. It's it's almost 8% of the overall electorate. So that's a huge number, right? So if you're going to 270, 6.5%, 7% of the electorate. It's a big push, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you see all these things taking place, and okay, the blue wall is still there. Minnesota's not in, Michigan's not in, Wisconsin's not in, Pennsylvania's not in.
Then I remember.
Did you get worried again between that time from when you saw that big lead when she started to narrow and she started getting into the 150s?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So when 10 o'clock came and New York fell, all of these states fell, and we got like Kansas. I think we got Kansas, Wyoming, and Montana.
Correct.
And so I'm like, okay, but she's at like 112 now.
Right. Then Colorado came in.
Yeah, and then like
New
at
Mexico.
11, Colorado came in, New Mexico came in, and California came in.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, it's like around 160 to like 212, I think. It's like near it's like 178 to like 212.
Yeah, because she pushed up. She got within like 35, 32 points, something like that.
And I remember she got and when she got California, she also got Washington and Oregon, and we got Idaho.
Yep.
And I'm like, calm. It's gonna come up to the big states. It's gonna come up to North Carolina.
Right. So
PA.
now you're like, oh great, it's the swing states, right? So you're like, what's gonna happen? So when you saw what the swing states weren't being called, where did your mind go?
I was like, it's all of my sports people out there. It's basically the suspense is when you're up to score in football. Your team is up to score game-winning field goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Keister? Keister? Shyster? Keister. I think it's Kev. Thanks, buddy. Go ahead.
Thank you. And so it basically back to football. It's like when you're kicking a field goal and the other team, like they kick it, they miss it, but it's a flag. Then the other team makes a timeout and then a commercial break happens. And it's like 30 minutes of just waiting for the field goal. And I'm like, the suspense is crazy. And then they finally kick the field goal. It's good.
Yep.
And so I was chilling. I think it was around 11. I think we got North Carolina. That's when North Carolina dropped.
Yeah, North Carolina dropped.
That's
and
when
that's
North Carolina,
first
Virginia
swing state.
dropped.
First swing state. Yeah,
was
and then
Carolina.
Virginia counteracted it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, okay. But Virginia not being a swing state, it wasn't expected to go to Trump. But we had a feeling that it was going to make a big impact. All right, so North Carolina goes. Then how are we doing?
Yeah, I think it's around 12 and nothing. They were talking about all of like the senates and states. That's like it's 12. They're like and like Minnesota and like Michigan and like all of those with when the president hasn't been declared. And so I think I come into the room, get the phone. And
Did you think that we were going to get an answer that night? Did you think it wasn't going to happen?
I think it was going to happen. I know that there were probably going to be like a few states left out, but I thought that Pennsylvania and all like the big states were going to come in.
Okay.
And so I'm chilling on the couch playing a game at like 1. It's called Brawl Stars. And then we get Pennsylvania, and we are at 267.
And I heard you cheer, but we got the news at the same time that you did, and you guys ran in here. But I don't think you understood what it meant because he was still 3 points away, right? Mm-hmm. So what happened? You came in, and then what happened?
We came in, we got all excited because you're like, he has this in the bag because Alaska or another.
No, I said he won. I said it's
Yeah.
over. The race is over, and you're like, "How is it over? He needs 3." But it was over at that point.
And then I'm like back to playing like Brawl Stars, and I'm on the couch. It's probably like 2, and I look up at the skull and I see Wisconsin is red, and I see 277.
Yeah.
And I go, Hayden, he won. And we go crazy. We are hugging and high-fiving, and then we just run into the room, and we are like, he won.
Yep.
And then, like, I stayed up, like, I started playing my game again, and I'm, like, talking to Hayden. I'm like, Hayden, this is big. And then around, like, 2:30, I go to bed. I'm like, holy crap, Trump won, and I get to stay home from school. And it's the biggest win of my life.
So why does it mean so much to you? I mean, you can't vote. You don't pay taxes to the extent that, other people do. Well, why is this so important to you?
Because I know how important it is. Sorry, screen keeps on going black.
It's okay.
Basically, I know how important it is to you guys. Like, I don't want to be walking in to a Target and mom asking me, hey, can you go get some toilet paper? And looking at the Angel Soft toilet paper, and it's $45. And I'm like, what?
Right.
And just, he will definitely fix the borders, because ever since the borders have been open, she has taken not one care in the world to close the border. Like, it has stayed open for the 4 years that she was vice president. Mm-hmm. And so I think President Donald Trump is going to close it. And I know crime, they're not going to be, no one can, like, force him and, like, make him. Because people, there was definitely someone behind it, like, telling what Vice President Kamala Harris to do and former President Joe Biden to do. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, this will be, and also I like Trump. And
President-elect Donald Trump. You can call him Trump. It's okay. He wouldn't mind.
And
Go ahead.
and I'm just stoked.
Yeah. I could see it. All right. So now that we know that, we're going to go and talk a little bit about current events. Just so I wanted to get your feelings on everything, and see, where your head's at, how you're feeling. How are people at school?
Oh, they're good. I haven't been really talking, like, all my friends who I know, like, kind of, like, Trump supporters. Like, not gonna say their name, but, like, most of my friends are, like, Trump supporters, and we go to school and we're like, Trump won.
Right.
And as a joke. And so we're just talking, and it's fun, because I'm just like, this happened, and I stayed home from school because I stayed up to watch the election, and I stayed up too. And we're just talking about what happened, and then my friend brings up, like, oh, did, like this state or this state, like, turn blue or red? And I'm like, it turned blue and red. Because we're talking about, like, Maine, I think, because like, everyone, like, it's like probably like one of the least popular states. Everyone's like, no one like really talks about Maine. It doesn't have any sports teams.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I was wondering about this because, and I tell him, and he's like, I'm like, you're probably not gonna get this, but it's blue and red, and I don't really get it because if I'm looking on the map right now, it says there's blue stripe down the middle, and it's blue and red, and I'm like,
so let me explain this. Nebraska and Maine are the only two states that split their electoral votes. Maine having 4, Nebraska having 5. And usually the rural areas, they use 2 for their congressional seat, and then 3 overall representing the state legislature. Get her down if she continues to do that. So essentially the way this works is Maine usually goes 3-1. 3 to Democrats and 1 electoral vote to Republican, and Nebraska goes 4-1, 4 to Republicans and 1 to Democrats, because Omaha is considered to be. Let's get her down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just pick her up and push her down. So Nebraska gets a +1. So that's normal. So that's why you see it being part red and part blue. She's fine, bud. Just push her down, dude. She's a cat. Just don't even be kind. Because I'm not telling you to hurt her, but if you try to be soft, she's going to fight you, and she will win. Okay, so let's get into Arizona. People want to hear some things here.
Oh, I am checking Nevada.
Here, put your mouth to the mic, son.
In Nevada, it looks like President Trump has a do the math.
Let's not go there yet.
Okay.
We're not doing that right now. We're going to do that in a second. Cool.
Yes.
Okay, and then you can tell me all about Nevada. Deal?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, we're going to Arizona. And this is a race that a lot of people want to know about. And I'm just going to tell you where we're at, okay? Ruben Gallego is the Democrat senator here. He's got 1.256 million votes. 50% of the electorate is in on him. Carrie Lake is the challenger, and she's at 1.2 million essentially, and she's about 52,000 votes shy. Now, the situation here is that people might go, wait a second, she gained some votes because she was almost 60,000 down last night. But the thing is that she's lower in points. She's at 47.9 and 50%. Well, she gained a little ground, and she's been steadily gaining. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, this is the trap, people. This is where Charlie Kirk and others were screaming from the rooftops that Carrie Lake was going to win because she was closing the gap. I told you this. But what's going to happen is that when the state comes in at around 87% roughly, and here it's at 71%, 1 million votes are remaining. So watch what happens here. This is reporting at 88% in, okay? And there is roughly 100,000 votes in this district. So 100,000 votes is essentially another 12,000. Roughly 12,000 votes are remaining. Not a huge thing, right? I mean, it's big. When you're at 50 some odd thousand votes, 12,000 is important. But the split on this is Kari Lake's going to get a lot of those votes. Out of that 12,000, she's going to get almost 8,500 votes. That's good.
Yes.
That's a good win. But if we go over here, you've got 88% of the vote in, and this is a closer split. So she's only gaining about 10% here. And there's really at 46,000, 46,000, excuse me, at 12%, you're only talking about 5,000 votes here. And Gallego is only down 10%. So she's going to get 500 votes from this sector. That's not a lot. So then we're going to come over here, and this is how we do it, folks. Real simple. This is inconsequential. These are 20,000 votes, 23,000 votes. It's 81% in. She's winning 30% extra of the votes, but really what's available here is about 20% of the votes. So at 23, you're talking under 4,500 votes available. That's not bad. And you'll see that this goes on in every red district. See, this is 92% in, right? 84% in. You see these numbers, E?
Yep.
Okay. 56% in Yuma. Yuma's good, but it's, once again, it's a 5,000 vote district. You're probably going to get 33,000. You'll get another probably 65,000 votes in total. And the split on that is she's only about 20 points up. So out of that 60,000, there's 12,000 votes on the table. It's good. This one, same thing. Cochise. This is a lower district. It's 43% in, about 21,000 votes, about 25 all in all. You double it, 50,000 votes. The split is she's up, 23%, but 50,000, that's going to give you, maybe 12, 15,000 votes. So all in all these red districts, there's probably out of this 1,039,000 available, she's probably got a good 125,000 votes to 135,000 votes tucked under her belt. That's not bad, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, then now we go to the Blues. And she's got votes here too. She's getting 35, but these are his areas. This is only 77% in. This is a big, big market. And there's a huge gap there. So he's going to get most of those votes, okay? So let's go here. 66% in. This is a smaller market, but once again, he's up 30 points. Yeah, 20, 28, 27. So you're starting to see some of these cancel each other out. Let's go to this bottom lower. Now, this is a smaller market, but once again, he's up. We can see that, 29 points here. It's a small market. Okay. Now, this is why Kari Lake's not going to win. Okay? Because when we go here and we look at Pima, it's 66%. Look how many votes that is, son. You're talking 350,000 are in, and it's 44% left remaining in the district, which means there's another 350,000 votes plus, 300,000 votes sitting there, and he's winning it by 23%. So out of that, he's going to get 120,000 plus votes from this. And she is only going to get 80,000. So he's going to gain 40,000 plus votes right here. Now, this is where it's over. This market is at, you're looking at almost 1.5 million votes, 68%. So that basically means 30% left, 32 to be completely accurate, but it's 30. Okay, so basically 450,000 votes are remaining. Now, she's doing well here, 46.4%. But remember, out of 1.5 million votes, he is polling in an additional 6% of those votes. Following me?
Yes.
Okay, so at 10%, that's 150,000 votes. So half of that, of 150,000 is 75,000, and I add the 2%. So right there is 80,000 votes additional. Remember all these votes here? We
Yes.
said she probably had about 175.
Yeah.
Well, we just counted almost 300,000 votes coming in for him, and she's already down in this election by, we just established, 52,000 votes. They just dropped more. She went down. So 52,000 votes is what she's ahead. And we have shown a net positive of almost 300,000 votes sitting in here for him. Now, we would have to look at her blue districts and subtract there, but she's not going to gain enough ground to close that gap. So that's the point.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't say Yuma was a big population. What do you mean? Anyway, so take a look at Maricopa. Big numbers.
Yep.
And the problem is that Pima and Maricopa are only 68% in when all of her red counties are all super high, 80, 90%. So right now, let me show you something else, buddy, so you can learn this, okay?
Yes.
If we go over here and we go to the exit polls, I want to show you why she's not going to win. Men, 49%, 49% voted for her and him. So Gallego is polling at 49%.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Lake is polling at 49%. But women are voting for Gallego, and they should be voting for Carrie Lake. She is losing because she has a 5% gap in all the women vote. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The reason why that's important, buddy, is because look at the percentage of women who are voting. 54% of women are voting, over 46% men.
Sheesh.
Right. So that's where she's getting her numbers. Now, when we look here, white people are definitely breaking for her. Black people are breaking for him. Not enough data on the black vote, but look at the Latin vote. 27%. It's a freaking nightmare. She's just getting crushed. Latins are voting for him. Bless you, buddy.
Thank you.
So anyway, so when you look at this, I want people to understand is that I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm trying to just give you everything straight up.
Okay.
And if I was to just guess, Carrie Lake's going to lose this. That's it. So I don't see Carrie Lake winning. And we have to go by the past. In 2020, MAGA, J6ers, and election deniers got their asses handed to them. Out of the 17, all 17 lost. And Carrie Lake was one of them. So I don't imagine, and that was in the midterms. So I don't see Carrie Lake winning this. But, it could change. But right now, these drops that are coming in are they're just too heavy for Gallego. That's it. So when we look at the overall last remaining drop that just came in, I'll give you the time frame of that. Yeah, they don't have the time on the last drop, but we should have another drop here. There's usually a drop around 8:30, if I remember from 2022. So we'll see it then.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go and talk about the Senate, buddy. Good news. Great news. We saw this. Now, this isn't right, actually. It's actually 53.
Yeah.
Republicans have 53 seats, which is a huge number. And honestly, looks like they're going to go to probably 54 or 55 seats is what it looks like. The remaining Senate races, the remaining Senate races are right here. Is Pennsylvania has actually been called. This is the 53. So he won. Maine, you have an independent, and that's expected. Nevada, it's neck and neck. You have 47.6 to 46.7 in Nevada. Arizona is 50% to 47.9. That's Carrie Lake. So my prediction is we are, at this point, done gaining houses or seats in the Senate. I believe that this one, more than likely, will be a loss for us. We go into Nevada, that's Rosen and Brown. These are close races, right? It's really close. It may have been called already. But as of right now, if we take a look, it's only 12,000 votes, Ethan. It's 12,000 votes between Sam Brown and Jackie Rosen. Let me go ahead. Do you mind if I break this down for people real quick, pal?
Yes, I do have to say one thing.
Yeah.
People in Nevada.
Yeah.
Make sure that you voted for him.
Well, it's too late now because all the votes are in. But let's assume that just give him a hex. Let's go ahead and look at. Let's break this down. Okay, we'll do it fast. Okay, I was teaching the last time. Now I'm just going to do it fast. 84,000 estimated remaining votes. Is 84,000 a lot when the difference between the numbers are like 12,000?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean 84,000's, but that's a big. He's going to have to make a big push to make up an 80,000. He's going to have to take some serious territory. So let's just first thing we should look at is where are we at with this? Well, it's 80% in. That's good. It's a big district, 200,000 people. We're seeing a lot of third-party candidates. Look at this. None of these candidates, Hanson, Cunningham, are getting good percentages. You're talking almost 5% is coming out of there. So a lot of votes. This is where he could be making up some ground. But let's see how he's doing here. I don't know why this is doing this. Here we go. So we take a look, 84% in Humboldt, 89% in Elko, White Pine, 86%, 87 Eureka, 85 Lander, 88, 84. Oh, yeah, he's not gonna win. 76 in Lincoln, but it's small. That's small. That's small. That's small. That's in Carson City's 93% in Douglas. Douglas, he could make up some ground. He's doing really well in Douglas, and that's only 74% in. She's winning because of this. This is only 80% in, and this is the biggest district is right here. He's going to have a tough time.
Yeah.
He's going to have a real tough time closing the gap. So I would anticipate right now that we have our seats in the Senate, which is 53. 1 will go independent. 2 will go to Democrats. That is a huge, 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 huge lead. Having 53 in the Senate means that you could have 3 Republicans break ranks, and we have the tie-breaking vote with J.D. Vance because the vice president splits the Senate. So it's really like 4. That's how you have to look at it. It's like we have 54. Once again, Brown might come back, but 12,000 votes when 94% of it is in, that's a tough beat. It's a real tough beat because 20% of most of those votes are in a blue district where she's crushing them. So something to think about. I don't see that race going that way. Let's take a look at the House. Says 209. I think that's about accurate. What does Fox say? Can you see anything on Fox? What does it say?
Okay, so it is states.
Yeah, state. What does it say? Because I knew we were plus net 3. We flipped 6 seats earlier today, so I think this is pretty accurate. And if it is, then the House looks really good.
Democrats have 197.
How many do we have?
209.
Okay, so 197 to 209. Let's look at the uncalled races. Iowa, Pennsylvania. Oh, these are all close. Nebraska looks good. New York, Colorado. Okay, so let's just go ahead and just based on this. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that would put us at, do the math, 420.
Huh?
420. 209 plus 11, buddy.
Sorry, you're saying 420, and then I'm like...
Oh, no, I'm sorry, not 420, 220. 409 plus 11. Or shit, 209 plus 11, buddy. Sorry. Come on, man, get back in it.
220.
220, so it's 220. Does that mean we take the House?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does, because we need 217, really. Or 218. So right now, it looks like a 220 is a fairly healthy. It's not too much more than what we've got right now. But let's go ahead and look where Democrats would end up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So they're at 193, not 197.
203.
So 203. So it'd be 203 to 220. That means 17 houses in the positive House seats for Republicans. That's a very good split. That's what it looks like right now. Governor, don't really care. Republicans have a huge edge in governorship. You can see all the governors. We lost North Carolina with Robinson. That was to be expected because this guy was a little bit weird. And then Washington, Ferguson versus Reichert. And Ferguson's been there a while, I believe. So very good night for the gubernatorial. A lot of governors. We definitely won that too. So what we can say, folks, is that the Democrats had a bad election. I mean, horrible. It doesn't get much worse than that. Ethan, what do you got for us? What do you see?
Oh, I was just looking at when Avalanche play.
Tonight. Playing Winnipeg.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, yep, 220 should be our average.
Yep. Make sure you stay close to the mic. So
Okay.
Karen Eschenbach says, we got our first question. Ready? Pertaining to January 6th, did Trump have power to order National Guard troops and demand Bowser and Pelosi bring them in ahead of the rally? Either way, where can I find the law on it? Thanks. It's fairly simple. Yes, he can absolutely activate the National Guard. Usually, there's a ceremonial process of notifying the speaker. You would notify Bowser, who's the mayor of D.C., and then you would order the National Guard. He has every right to do that. And the thing is that Donald Trump, and if you take a look at the Mark Meadows letter, he wrote a few days before J6 and asked if they would need additional security. They were hearing rumblings, intelligence briefings of this large protest and the Stop the Steal rally, and they didn't want Antifa coming in, so they asked if they should get the National Guard. And then Bowser and Pelosi, who were on the letterhead, said no. Now, they didn't say no, he can't have the National Guard. They just said that there would be no additional need for security at this time. Ultimately, if Donald Trump wanted the National Guard, he could have called for it. Now, if you want to know, you have to look at the state's constitution of Washington, D.C., and you also have to look at the federal in the Constitution, Article, I don't know, maybe it might be Article 3. It should have his ability to call the National Guard. That's where you should find it. Okay, Matt, where did California land, red or blue? California landed extremely blue, but had a lot of red in it. And when I say that, it's pretty extensive. I'll show you guys a heat map. You'll get a kick out of this, E. This is a heat map of the election. And if you take a look at 2020, California was absolutely... This was early in the election. So California, almost 66% of California was red. And you saw a pretty big number. If we take a look and go to the state's results real quick.
It was 57.64 Vice President Kamala Harris to 39.70 President Trump.
Outstanding. 39.7, yep. So in that, you would say, oh my God, that's a shellacking. Well, you're talking about 17, 18%. And yes, it is 2 million votes, 1.9 million votes. That's huge. And it will continue. There's still 6 million votes here. And this is why Democrats are like, it's a stolen election. Where are all the votes? They're in California, dude. They're in Arizona. They're in Nevada. And if you take the missing votes from 2020, there's going to be a drop-off because no one expects 2020 to be as many votes. You're going to find that, Donald Trump got his butt kicked in California. And we expect that because it's a stronghold. It's like Texas. If you take a look and go to Texas... at 56.2 to 42.4. It's 14%. So he's got 2.2 million votes. So does she have enough votes in California to overtake the popular vote? No. But I don't think he's going to continue to have 5 million votes on the popular vote. In fact, I would almost bet my bottom dollar he's gone down. And he has. So if you take a look, it's 68.7 million to 73.1 million. This was over 5.6 last night. So she's gonna narrow it. Do I believe that she's gonna catch him? No. 4.5 million vote lead he has. He would have to do so incredibly poor in the remaining counts in these states. And if we take a look, Arizona is 72. Arizona's 72% in, and he's crushing it. He's killing her in Arizona. So he's going to gain votes here. He's already ahead of her by 120,000. That's just going to continue. Nevada, he is he's ahead here too. He's not killing her as much, but it's definitely a deeper state. What's up?
Question from Rumble.
Okay, hold on a second. So it's a deeper state. So you're probably looking at 70,000 votes here, and then California. Yes, she out of those 6 million votes, she's going to get 50%, 57% of them. So she's going to get, 3.2 million votes. But Donald Trump is going to get 40% of them. So Donald Trump is going to get himself 2 million votes. So she's going to gain 1 million votes. So he's probably, like I said, anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 million, he'll win the popular vote. Does that make sense? Alaska's been called for Donald J. Trump. 295 to 226 is where we're at in Nevada. And Arizona, you've got 17 points.
In Arizona, he's up by a juicy lead.
Oh, yeah, he's going to crush her in Arizona. She's not coming back in Arizona. Arizona needs to be called, but they're not going to do that. And then they really need to call Nevada, but it's close.
Yeah, it's at 91%.
Yeah, but it's 95% is what I'm seeing here on mine. 95%. So this is a little more accurate. And you're talking, they're separated by 58,000 votes with, hold on. I want to find out how many votes are remaining. It's going to be called any minute. Because look, there's only 67,000 votes remaining and he's up by 58. So as soon as this goes down to 58, it's over. Mm-hmm. So they're 5,000 votes away from calling Nevada. Nevada will drop tonight. If they have another drop coming in, I don't know where their drops are. It's not showing me when they got a most recent drop, but they are usually in sync with Arizona, so they'll get one at 8:30. And if that goes below, if they get 7,000, there, it just went down to 67. So they're counting votes right now. Mm-hmm. So we want this to drop to 58 to 57,000. This drops 10,000 more votes, and this race is over. Nevada will be called for Donald Trump. And then Arizona is going to fall that way. But Arizona is going to take for effing ever, son. What's the question from Rumble, Olivia? Oh, my God. Why don't you read to me? Okay, go.
From Big Daddy.
Well,
you know what? They can't. Why don't you text it to me?
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Folks, donations. Don't Unfriend Me Show. Hey, Ethan.
yeah.
Don't Unfriend Me Show. We have $114 of our goal of $250. We are 100% funded by you. If you have not had a chance, please help out the Don't Unfriend Me Show at thedumshow.com/donate. It costs a lot of money to keep this show going and to stream to you every night. We do it 5 nights a week, and we usually do it 3 in the morning and 5 in the rest of the week. So please help us out by going to thedumshow.com/donate. You can give PayPal, Venmo, or mail it to us. You gave it to me? All right, so I'll just put this up. I don't see it. Oh, those pictures we can't put up with Ethan seeing that. Ooh. Just kidding, Ethan. Okay, oh, God. Hey, Matt, longtime listener. My daughter asked me, how do we know the voting demographics as far as race, sex, and who we voted for? I could not answer. Wondered if you could answer that for her. Yeah. So, Ethan, do you know the answer to that?
No.
Well, okay. Well, you know me. I'm not going to let you get away with that.
What was the question again?
So, hey, are you bored, dude?
No, I have to go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I told you not to hold it. You got to go, and then get your butt back here so I can answer this question.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy. So when voter data comes through, it's not tracked. Some states do track race and ethnicity, others don't. But this is how it works. So every 10 years, the United States has a census. And that census, they go door to door and they collect a certain amount of information from you. Now, there's certain things they can ask and there's certain things they cannot. They don't ask your sexual disposition. That's why you'll never see a voter percentage of people who are straight or gay or transgender. But you will find religion, race, marital status, sex, gender are things that they do. Sometimes they do household income. They do owning and renting. And they'll ask political affiliation, right? So every 10 years you have a census. Then what you do is you send that data out to the U.S. government, and that is how we get our state legislatures. That is how we go ahead and get our overall voter rolls and population to go ahead and count against the census. Now, there can be changes to that. You can remove people, but adding people to a voter roll can't be done with solicitation. It has to be a natural process. Now, you can get people to vote and register to vote, but you can't force people to do that. So the natural progression of people moving in and out of the state, you can remove people from voter rolls, but adding people in is not a good thing. Every 10 years, the census kind of gives you a reset, and they trim off all the burrs and edges and smooth it out a little bit because it gets weathered. So when we look at the census, then you say, okay, well, Matt, how do they know? Well, because in the census, they can ask those questions. So if they have, let's just say 100,000 people in a district, and then they go ahead and they have those people come in and vote, and 100,000 people vote, you know that this many black people voted, this many white people voted, this many religious people voted, and you get this basic understanding based upon how many people, based upon the mix of your overall demographic, religious disposition, sex, marriage, whatever. You can get an idea of what your makeup of voters look like. So you get a percentage, right? Then you use exit polls to confirm this data. And you ask people, hi, can I ask you a couple questions about how you voted today? And most people like me, I'll go, fuck no, get away from me. That was what I said to the person who came up to me outside my polling place. Fuck no, get away from me. There's two places that I'm like that. One is when I'm buying a car. Stay away from me. Don't talk to me. Because what I do is I go in my head, you talk to me, I'm not going to buy a car from you. And I give them the sign. I don't make eye contact. I'm monosyllabic. But if you continue to press me, I am going to go to everyone who didn't approach me. I'm the same way at voter. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want any of your pamphlets. I don't want to be polled. Just get the fuck away from me. I'm going to vote and I'm leaving. That's the way I am. And some people are like, you're a jerk. Yes, most assuredly I am a jerk when it comes to that. So, but exit polls will give you an idea. And what they do is that they specifically kind of profile people. And they'll look and they'll say a man and a woman and go, okay, that's a married couple. We need to get a sample from a married couple. Go in and talk to them. Okay, this married couple, they're white, they're Christian, and they are Republican and one Democrat. This one voted this way, this one voted this way. And now you've got a kind of a primer to build off of. And you can then take those numbers of the demographic breakup that you assess through the census versus who showed up, and then start applying and checking boxes. And you put all that information into a computer, and then that computer goes ahead and expands and contracts based upon all 3 points of reference that you've collected, and will give you an idea of what women vote, what black people vote, what Hispanic vote, which party voted. And that is how you get exit poll data of the breakdown of who voted. It's a really cool process. It's ingenious. And that hopefully answers your question. That is definitely a $20 question. That's a good question. I don't get many questions like that I really like. That's an exciting question for me. So wonderful question. Because I love explaining that stuff. That's like my favorite thing on the earth to do. It's like when someone asks me something, I'm like, oh yeah, I can kind of tell you how it works, and that's pretty much how it works. It's an ingenious way of counting. It's almost a reverse, a subtractive way to count versus additive. It's taking away numbers from the census based on who showed up, which will give you a remaining total. And if you are short in Christian votes, but Muslims are represented and Catholics are represented, you can say, oh, okay, well, we've got these represented. Here's the population versus the census. There's only 3% more maximum Christians and only 17% more Muslims. Okay, well, we can go ahead and fill in the gap. And now the other category is where they go. And that lines up with the census based upon the voter registration and the people who showed up. But you also get propensity of voter there. You also get the likelihood of voter there. You get to take those people, and because they voted, you get to go ahead and put them in the database for next year, that their likelihood to vote is a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So all these things are really baseball stats. And if you love KPI indicators, this is the one to check. What are you doing? I don't get served food. What the hell, dude?
I'm Belle.
Oh, obviously built different. Want dessert? I don't know about food. What did you say? Of course it is. Yogurt. Okay, Matt, where did he call California land? I did that. Anyone know the new? I already answered that. The seats. Matthew, are you concerned with President-elect Trump with the threat of nut jobs out there? I'm always concerned about the president, you know? So yeah, I'm always concerned. But his Secret Service detail is now, he was at presidential level after the second attempt. So now his coverage is he gets air, land, and sea, and space, and everything. He's protected. Like, he's covered. I have to look at it this way: is we haven't lost a president since Kennedy. We've had 2 attempts since then. We've had more than 2. There have been more than 2 assassination attempts. But in the end, I'm always worried about it. Matt, does Trump have presidential security now? Yep, already answered that. I want to know if in the next 74 days the Dems give amnesty to the illegals. Is there a recourse to that? You can't do an executive order without due process like that. You can't deport everybody, and you can't give clarified immunity to people or give them citizen status with an executive order or stroke of a pen. That's not the way it works. Those are the civil rights of people, and civil rights are protected by law, and therefore also can only be removed or added by law. Thank you so much, Maddie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. So no, he can't. Why is Arizona so slow in tallying the votes? I read somewhere that they only tabulated 23,000 votes yesterday because they suck. Maricopa County is Ethan. Yeah, I can say they're a shithole, and they're very poor at counting votes. Their tabulation process also, they do an additional step in the tabulation process, and they have to get verification of sign off, which these supervisors, and it's a bottleneck. And then you also have to go ahead, and their tabulation process and collection process is extremely slow. It's horrible. It's Maricopa. And they're almost as bad as Alaska. Alaska's worse. Ethan, what is your favorite subject in school, and will you run for the presidency?
Probably my favorite is dismissal or lunch. And then...
Such a dork.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. Diesel's mission, Canine Rescue and Rehabilitation.
Thank you.
One of our viewers. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. We're almost halfway there. We're at 135 out of 250. Thank you so much for donating. We do appreciate it. We need it. Trust me when I say we need it. There are always expenses for this damn show. E, favorite subject in school. Seriously, answer the lady's question. For real. Science.
Right now, science.
Obviously. Because you got a B in math. Are you going to run for president?
Probably not.
Yeah, she's a smart boy. That's my son. You need to go in the military?
Yes.
You've decided yes? You're getting closer. I mean, you're not that far away. You're 7 years away.
I'd say probably yes.
Okay. Which branch?
Navy.
You go Navy. You got to speak into the mic, son, or we can't do that.
Navy, it's the best.
Navy, it's the best. Well, there's a couple of people in here who are going to disagree with you right now. Matt, I have a nephew that wants to enlist in the Air Force. Oh, boy. My question is, should he be an officer so you can give him any way to get him there? And yes, he will have a degree without ROTC. Yeah, he's got a degree, and he would simply apply for it during the enlistment process. He would want to go through OCS, Officer Candidate School, through the Air Force. I will let you know that the highest amount of recruits going into any branch are the Air Force for officers. Most people who join the military who are college educated don't necessarily want to go into the Marine Corps. Now, some do, and I'm not knocking the Corps. They don't want to go in the Navy. They don't want to go in the Army. The Air Force has the elitist status a little bit. If he wants to go in, I would make sure he's fresh up on the ASVAB or the AQT test, which was going to rate. He should know what he wants to do first before becoming an officer. I'd recommend he doesn't do a closed rate like Intel, or if he wants to go Special Forces or something to that effect, whatever. Don't do a closed rate. Do a rate that's fairly easy that they're going to need officers for. But if you do 1,000 people like in intelligence, officers are in abundance and they don't retire that often, and either do senior chiefs and master chiefs. So if you want to move up and you want to have a good chance, you should do a rate that's fairly open, that needs officers on the regular. Other than that, don't trust your recruiter at all. Always have a veteran kind of go over everything. And the answer is, thank you, I'm not going to sign today, but I appreciate all the information, is a very good answer. And you're not in until you arrive at boot camp and your head's shaved. Even if you're on the bus and you've been flown out, until you swear in boot and raise your hand, you are not owned by the government. But once you swear in, you are officially owned, signed, sealed, and delivered by the U.S. government. So if you have second thoughts, make sure you do it before you piss in the cup and raise your hand to God and the Constitution of the United States, because once you do that, you're in. Okay? Do you think Alito and Thomas will step down during his term? I don't know. They're young enough. I think one of them should. Therefore, because Sotomayor is going to obviously be one of the next SCOTUSes that retire, but not now. She will not retire now. There's no chance. And the thing about justices is they usually have a 2-year window by the end of the administration that if they don't notify by 2 years, there's kind of a common practice that they do not resign unless they die. So you're going to have to see those resignations within the next year or two. Now, Clarence Thomas has every reason to resign. Democrats have been going after him. He's done great, but he's making some great oral arguments. He's been fantastic, and he's really kind of reaching his stride as a senior judge. So I don't know. He's got another 10 years in him. He's young. He's a spring chicken. I think he's like 74, something like that. Maybe 76, and Alito 74. So they're both making great oral arguments. Their written dissertations are fantastic. I don't think you need to get rid of them right now. But if Trump wants to put another one on the bench, he may talk to them about it. We'll see. I would imagine Alito would go before Thomas. And, who knows what 2028 brings. Okay? All right. I hope that helps. I hope those questions help. I know it's not very exciting, but there it is. Okay. My son was sworn in at MEPS, not BOOPS. No, he wasn't. Your son wasn't sworn in at MEPS. Your son was made to believe that he was sworn in at MEPS. He was sworn in at boot. Everybody gets sworn in at boot. Everybody. MEPS is not sworn in. You can get out of a MEPS contract. All you do is walk in and say, I decided not to go. And their answer is, oh, come on. And then they'll talk to you and they'll try to sell you. They'll throw more money at you. But no. Once you take the P test, once you raise your hand to the Constitution and swear in at boot, you are in the military. Until then, you are not. You are in the delayed entry program. The DEP, even if you didn't enter DEP, you're still in the delayed entry program even when you get off the flight. Take the flight, go to the hotel, have some couple beers, wake up in the morning, get on the bus, get yelled at. You go in, you've got your bag. They're taking away your CD player. They're taking away your wallet. They shave your head. All this type of stuff. None of that happens until you wake up the first morning or right before you go to bed and you pee in a cup, you raise your hand to the Constitution in mass, and then you go to sleep. And then at 0400, you're up and you're rocking and rolling. But he was sworn in at MEPS and at Boot. I promise you that. I was sworn in at MEPS. I was sworn in at Boot. It doesn't matter until you're sworn in at Boot. Trust me when I say this. I did recruiting for, I know only 90 days, but I learned a lot of shit. Every military family I have was sworn in at Boot. You get sworn in. When you go to MEPS, you get sworn in and you sign on the dotted line. If you want to guarantee your rate, you go in and or your rate and or your MOS. If you want to guarantee it, that's how you get it. And it opens up on the computer. It shows a +1 and to be a BB stacker or intelligence specialist or a yeoman, and you fill in that slot and you have a reservation. That's all it is. It's a reservation to show up to A school. Then you get your date of deploy to deploy to boot camp. And you will go in MEPS and give blood, go through the doctors, cough, all that shit, bend over, touch your toes. You swear in, and it's a really pretty room, and it's got flags, and it's got like the adjunct general in there, and it's ridiculous. At the President of the United States picture, it feels all official. It doesn't mean shit. You can sign your life away. I did. It doesn't matter. At any time, you can stop. Even if you're on the plane and you literally show up at Great Lakes and Naval Station, and they get you on there and they take you off the bus until you pee in a cup and until you raise your hand, you're not in the military. You're just not. I'm just letting you know. Okay? They didn't let us have wallets. We had to get rid of our wallets, get rid of our rings, our watches. We had to put everything in a safety deposit wall. And we didn't get to keep any of that. Let's see. Let me just finish reading these, buddy. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My son was going to the Air Force 2 weeks before. I was lied to by my recruiter in the Air Force. Yep. It's a good department from what I see. Every military family I have is sworn at Boot. Correct, Mel. Wallets are taken. Laugh off. Wow. Yeah, they took my wallet when I went in. Army, Marine Corps, I don't think they take. I think you have it in your foot locker. But that's a part of the experience of the Army and the Navy is your foot locker, because they loved up with you over your foot locker. We had no personal belongings. They took them all. We had our glasses. Our glasses had to go. And we got to keep them on until we got our head shaved. And then you would go in, you get your prescription, you get your birth controls. They're all right there. Put on your birth controls, and they took everything. We kept our wallets and our foot lockers. I got to finish reading these. I'm sorry. They changed minds, break contract. Exactly. They can change minds and break contract before. Yes, they can. It's not a break of contract. What you sign at MEPS is a commitment to appear. That's it. If you don't show up, they can't even come after you. You will lose your seat in whatever A school. You will lose your seat in basic, and you're done. Now, the recruiters will call you and they'll try to scare you, and they can't do anything to you. You're not AWOL. You're not in the military. You're not. I'm just telling you. Matt, what are your thoughts on Attorney General, FBI Director, and Secret Service Director? I don't know. Well, Ethan has some news for us. Ethan, what about Donald Trump's Chief of Staff? Did you find out? Did Mom pull it up for you?
I was mainly just looking to see.
Go to Google. Type in, who is Donald Trump's new Chief of Staff for me? What are you doing? Why are you hitting that?
Trying to open the thing.
Dear Lord, I have had 32 members of family in every branch of military. Glenn Clark, did he get his veteran points? At MCDC, they took all Matt's, my son's stuff. They usually do. Yeah. Now they do. It's just because back then they didn't have thieves. You would never, but there are thieves now. It's a different world. Oh my God, the black rimmed glasses. Ours were brown. Yeah. Bless you, Ethan. What's up, buddy? Someone said bless you because you sneezed. Talking to the mic. Do you need to step off? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Do you have hiccups?
Yeah.
Oh. Do you want me to do this? E? Ethan, do you need to jump off?
No, I
Can't find it?
no.
Dude, you're killing me. Trump names Susie Wiles as first female chief of staff in U.S. history. What a sexist, right? What a sexist,
Yeah.
Ethan.
How
He made a
how dare
woman.
he.
He made a woman his chief of staff. She was co-campaign manager, Susie Wiles. She is very, very well liked. She ran a very strong campaign. And what's great is a lot of the people who are being considered already took orders from her in the campaign. Susie Wiles is officially the chief of staff. As far as FBI director, as far as his cabinet, I will do one thing that I never do is, well, it's not that I never do. I'm not going to make predictions. Donald Trump is the sole person responsible for picking his cabinet, and I'm not going to do that. It's not my place, and we have him in place to make those decisions. First woman, but she is fantastic. She's strong, very, very tough, and very well admired. She's good. So it's the right chief of staff for him. I love that it's a woman. I really do, because she's the right type. She reminds me of a Jean Fitzpatrick, Margaret Thatcher, Laura Bush, who a lot of people don't like Laura Bush, but I do. And she's tough. So there you go. Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Do you need to go?
I like.
We're going to videos right now. You want to watch some videos?
Yeah.
Okay. It's usually funner, but it is the election, pal. So we can't just talk about sports
I know.
and girls all day, which I don't think you wanted to do anyway, if I'm not mistaken. Eating and talking are not good because you get air bubbles. I don't know which videos I can show you, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a Rachel Maddow video from MSNBC, and Rachel Maddow is very upset. What are your thoughts on Vivek Ramaswamy as JD's replacement? What do you mean, JD's replacement? You think Vivek Ramaswamy is going to become the vice president of the United States? I don't understand. What does that mean? Oh, in Ohio? No, I think Vivek Ramaswamy needs to be the press secretary. I think he would be a fantastic press secretary. I don't think he wants that job, but White House communications director would be good. I would like to see Vivek, but I don't know what Vivek will take. Vivek will serve at the pleasure of the president. Vivek will probably take a role of advisor to the president. Very much like Jared Kushner. And I imagine Vivek will do that. He will do a advisor to the president. But White House communications director, he would be fantastic at. So there you go. All right. Rachel Maddow. Let's go ahead and listen to this. Folks, $135.88 to goal. We are about $120 short. Ethan has chronic hiccups, and we must get him a new surgery.
Yep.
Without it, he will be hiccuping for the rest of his life. $120 can save a child's life. Save Ethan's life. Stop it. You sound sick, son. Look really horrible right now. Look at him. He looks peaked and white, almost frozen in time. $120 can save Ethan's life. Won't you save Ethan's life? We'll see if they love you, Ethan.
Yep.
We'll find out. Rachel Maddow, another 11-year-old. Let's hear what she has to say about Donald Trump winning the election. Maybe not. Let me change the audio.
I'll point out something more strange, which has been happening at the same time and it hasn't had as much attention.
Maria, she's not replacing anybody. Chief of staff hasn't been named. Chief of staff is the person who runs all branches of the administration and cabinet. And it is reassigned and renamed every year. And it's also a position that gets changed out quite often in presidencies. So she will be the first, and I think only, White House chief of staff for Donald Trump.
The day before Trump made those remarks on Friday, On Friday, he said, you're never going to have to vote again after you vote for me this one time. The day before that, on Thursday last week, he didn't say that people wouldn't have to vote anymore once he was elected this November. No, the day before that, on Thursday, he told his supporters, not that they're not going to have to vote again, but that they don't have to vote this time, that they don't need to vote for him this November.
My instruction, we don't need the votes. I have so many votes.
My instruction, we don't need the votes. I have so many.
Wow. What do you think they did there, Ethan, with that three?
They so edited that.
Yeah. Don't they always?
Many votes. He said that on Thursday last week. And it turns out this is something, when you look, he says this all the time now. Watch.
My instruction, we don't need the votes. I have so many votes.
We don't need votes. I tell my people, I don't need any votes. We got all the votes we need. I don't need votes. We don't need votes. We got more votes than anybody's ever had. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes.
Don't worry about voting.
You can tell how
Of all the weird.
Well, it's edited because they're not taking it in context. And what did he mean when they said it? We'll explain it in a second.
Weirdness around this campaign. This is a truly strange thing to tell people, right? Don't vote. I don't need your vote. I don't want your vote. I mean, all the surface level weirdness is, worth noting. Having a new position on literally anything you can think of as soon as any random rich guy tells you to. That's a weird thing. Picking the eccentric billionaire's intern for your running mate, even though you apparently had no idea who he was or what a disaster he is on television. All of this is weird. But telling voters, do not bother to vote for me. It doesn't matter if you do. I don't need your votes. That is a thing that should prick up your ears. Because what that means is that he doesn't think he needs to win the vote to win the election. He doesn't think he needs to win the election in order to take power. He thinks something other than votes is going to determine whether or not he gets back in the White House.
So, Ethan.
Yes.
First of all, that's Rachel Maddow. Can you believe that she was a beautiful woman at one point who was just stunning and pretty based and could be considered very intelligent? What do you think Trump meant when he said, don't vote? Don't vote. Do you think he was telling people not to vote?
No, he was not.
Donald Trump, in all of those occasions, were actually joking with people. And what he said was, listen, I don't even like you people. I'm just here to get your vote. And then he said, oh, no, I'm just kidding. I don't need your vote. We've got plenty of votes. So they took a segment of it, and because they lost, now they're trying to find a reason to go ahead and tarnish the results so they can challenge it. They can't accept that they just lost the election. What do you think about that?
Stupid. Don't be so loose. Like, you think Greg Gutfield after the end of the election? Did they hear me?
Now they can.
Okay. So do you think Greg Gutfield from The Five and the show Gutfield on Fox is going to be like, find something edited about Vice President Kamala Harris or like take a segment of it and try to like, they just won't accept that Vice President Kamala Harris wins? Mm-hmm. No, because it's
okay. Finish.
Because, like, he's not that, he will accept the loss. Like, he will accept, like, fair game is fair game. And so, like.
And Gutfeld called Donald Trump out on the stolen election conversation and talk many, many times. But they don't see Donald Trump. You understand who they compare Donald Trump to, right?
Yeah.
Who?
Hitler.
What do you think? Do you think? Tell me some things about Hitler.
Killed 6 million Jews.
How many non-Jews?
5 million. I think it was. He killed 11 million people. Put a bunch of people into concentration camps. Ripped apart families. Took over countries. was one of the most powerful, probably the most powerful man, and probably the worst man ever in the history of the whole entire world. Like, and
Pretty good.
Donald.
Think Donald Trump's like that?
No. Most of, not German, hasn't probably killed one person in his entire life.
That we know of.
That we know of. Still probably hasn't killed 11 million people.
Pretty sure he hasn't.
Yeah, we would have known if that happened.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. That's a completely different conversation. So why do they say
The
this?
hot sauce.
Hot sauce in the
hot
bag
sauce.
swag. So why would they say this? Why would they say he's Hitler? I mean, why would you do that?
They're trying to get every reason for someone not to vote for him. They just don't want him to win. They're doing everything in their possibility to get people not to vote for President Donald Trump. They're calling him Hitler. They're making him seem like he's evil, making it seem like he's going to take away your rights, which is kind of impossible. That,
Right. The president doesn't have that power.
Yeah. They'll be like, but they're the most powerful person. No, they aren't.
No, really, the
no,
president
they
is not very powerful, surprisingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Here's Jimmy Kimmel. He's a late night host. You don't know who he is. But he's very...
Let's be honest.
He hates Donald Trump.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, he's called Donald Trump a maggot. He's insulted him. And he gets almost ready to cry here. Take a listen.
Let's be honest. It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet. Let's be honest. It was a terrible...
Baby.
Ethan, what is it to you to be a man?
To not cry over something that won't even happen. He's like, saying immigrants that worked hard to like make America or something. They're not even supposed to be here.
Illegal.
He's
Difference between illegal and a legal immigrant, right? I just want to make sure we understand. Immigrants can be here.
Yes.
Illegal immigrants.
They have their like green card and get like checked off.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure we're all, hey, we gotta do it. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, and I'm just like, poor people, like he probably fixed most of that, but inflation's not gonna be that high. So like you can actually go to the store and buy like a loaf of bread, because poor people, it's like $3 to buy a loaf of bread. When President Trump was in office, it was like probably $1.
Mm-hmm.
And inflation, food and toilet paper, like I've said, clothes, cleaning supplies, it's so expensive.
Right.
And with lower inflation, probably poor people actually be able to like buy food and get the things that they need because it won't be so expensive. And it's probably a win for poor people. And he's like, it's bad for the poor people. No, it isn't. If Vice President Kamala Harris got in office, it probably would have been worse because higher inflation, higher costs, and higher
more
taxes.
Yeah, more taxes too. Okay. It's kind of funny that Donald Trump hates women and he makes a woman chief of staff, right?
Yeah.
Kind of weird. You understand the chief of staff is probably, the best way to describe it is like a master sergeant or senior chief on a boat. If he's the captain, the highest ranking non-commissioned officer would be the chief of staff. They run everything. They run his schedule. They run the communications department. They run on speech writers. They run on policy and declaration. They run on Senate oversight and work with the Senate oversight committees. They work with the gain of 9. They are responsible for hiring and staffing of like 5,000 employees that are close to the president. It's ridiculous. So to sit here and say all these things it's tiresome. It's not true. Now, Ethan, there's some cussing in this one.
Okay.
You're okay?
My sensitive soul.
Yeah, are you going to live?
No.
By the way, people don't care about you or your hiccups. Sorry, nobody. Not one person cares. So,
Okay, I'll make this interesting. Okay.
Okay, don't overcommit, dude, because actually somebody cares. Wait. Somebody cares. Excuse me. Somebody cares. Live! Donation! You're taking forever. She always does that. I'm doing it right now as she's gabbing with
She's
Hayden.
like eating like a peanut butter, like one of my candies that I got from Halloween.
Yeah, somebody cares about you. Somebody cares.
Yeah.
Amy Bordeaux says she cares about you. Yeah, okay, relax, people. It's a joke. We're kidding. We're kidding. Oh my God! I don't need to hear you're broke. We're kidding. All right. It's a joke. I agree. Not humorous at all. Who's not humorous? Thank you, Linda Clark. What a nice thing.
Thank you.
She kills. You're gonna sign.
She MVP.
But it's thank you. We care. We're not okay. Even this lady cusses and she's crazy. So I want to get your opinion on her. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is happening all over TikTok. This is happening all over the internet, and these people are wacko. Yeah, Tommy Cawthorn says, "Nice knowing you, Ethan." He's good. He's down. He's down. He's not getting up. It's not funny, Ethan. All right, sit up. All right, here we go. Listen, it's always the eyes, Ethan. Look at her eyes. It's always the eyes. All right, here we go. I'm sorry for the foul language. I hope they bleep it.
Wow, look at that. 52% of all women who look like me are fucking stupid.
They didn't.
You voted against yourself. You voted against yourself and your daughters and your nieces and your mothers and your neighbors and your friends and your granddaughters. You voted against them. And you voted a fucking felon, an adjudicated rapist, and a con man. And
Ethan, what does adjudicated mean?
I have no idea.
What does it sound like?
Criminal, maybe?
Okay, so it sounds like law, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. So when you would say, let me give you the verbal definition. Okay?
Okay.
Adjudicated is a legal term making that a decision has been made on a matter, typically by a judge or an official court. For example, when a dispute is adjudicated, it means the court has examined the evidence and issued a formal judgment. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when you screw up and you don't clean your bedroom, your mother and I adjudicate and we decide what your punishment is going to be in your guilt and innocence, right? Mm-hmm. Has Donald Trump ever been found guilty of rape?
No.
So when they say adjudicated, the decision was made that he is innocent, correct?
Yes.
So when they say adjudicated of rape, what are they saying? What do you think they're trying to say?
They're trying to say like he was accused of like raped and like he did rape someone.
That's right, because people don't know what the word adjudicated means. So it sounds like he was actually found innocent. And what is one of the main rules we have in this country about guilt and innocence?
You like tell the truth. Basically.
Right, but you're innocent until proven what?
Guilty.
That's right. Every single American is innocent until proven guilty. So when they say an adjudicated rapist, it's just a formal way of very official sounding way to say that he's innocent of rape. And honestly, it shouldn't even be brought up because he was never accused criminally of rape. This was a civil trial. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So here's the rest of this wonderful, glorious person who needs to find something other than a brick to comb her hair.
A grifter back into the White House. You know, it's going to be awfully hard to leave your fucking marriage now.
Sorry.
Since how they want to get rid of no-fault divorces. Oh, and owning things? That's not going to happen either. Have any of you read the transitional projects? No? You didn't care? You just screamed MAGA, MAGA.
So before I go any further with this psycho, this is like the lady who at Tammy's Diner sat near my table. She looks just like her. She talks just like her. And she's nuts just like her. Ethan, what do you think is wrong with people, man? Why do you, what's wrong with people?
They're uneducated. That is all I gotta say. They just need to maybe sit down, actually learn something, and get it through their thick skulls that President Donald Trump isn't that bad. Probably Vice President Kamala Harris's worst. Abortion, taxes, the border, crime. President Donald Trump can fix all of that. Abortion, killing babies. So, just sit down, go on to like Fox News, don't go on CNN, fake news, and go on somewhere and maybe take some time.
Maybe the Don't Unfriend Me show.
Yeah, go watch us. Like, honestly, maybe leave a good donation or something.
Oh, dude, stop hustling. Seriously, you're 11. God, pimping ain't easy, man.
And just take the time, sit down, learn some facts, compare the facts, and maybe you'll see that President Donald Trump isn't that bad, and Vice President Kamala Harris is worse than you thought. And you might be like, oh, yeah, he might not be that bad, but like Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga or like my favorite like musician or actor likes Vice President Kamala Harris and endorsed her. Too bad. If you look at one side, yes, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Does that make her better? No. It just gives her a little bit extra votes. When you compare their true colors and like personality up close, President Trump wins by far.
Why? Why does he win?
Abortion, killing babies, all you gotta say, honestly. Like, you want to kill babies.
But right. So I think it's really important to understand is that the President of the United States can't stop abortion. What Donald Trump did was he brought it back to the states for the states to decide. So he has no influence on abortion. So this whole thing was a lie. Kamala Harris wanted to codify Roe v. Wade and make it a constitutional amendment to kill a living thing. Isn't that kind of opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, Ethan?
Yes.
What about the baby? Does the baby have rights?
Yes. Like, I mean, like, it might not be born yet, but it has if it has a heartbeat, it's alive. Because, like, yes, it's not talk. It might not be breathing. Technically, yes, it is breathing. You might not be able to.
Ethan's fan club. Ethan lives. Ethan lives. Thank you, Ethan. Oh, here we go. We got a call. This should be fun. Is all I will say. What's going on, Mike? How are you, buddy?
No, Brian McGuire, actually.
It sounds like Mike. God, you, Jason Shepard, and Mike from Montana all sound the damn same. I'm just letting you know. Anyway, Brian McGuire, definitely. What's up, buddy? Sorry about that. I thought I had it, but this is why I always ask everyone's name because I always screw it up. Brian, where are you from again?
I'm actually in South Dakota.
That's right. All right, man. What do you want to talk about?
I must say that Ethan, man, you're a bright boy, and I like that you have a great concept of numbers. It's awesome, and amazingly, you have a better kind of like grasp on what's going on in the world than most of the adults running things. So that's impressive.
Thank you.
And so Congratulations to you, man. That's great. You're an amazing little man. So I just wanted to give you some kudos. But you guys are talking about the abortion stuff, and I just wanted to give kind of a personal story.
Sure.
It's not the greatest story, but this is back about 4 years ago. But in early 2020, late 2019, I'm now remember, I'm in South Dakota. And
Right.
South Dakota is one of the most pro-life states in the whole United States.
Yes, it is.
Well, my wife had an ectopic pregnancy back in late 2019, 2020. And when we went in, because she was having severe issues, she started bleeding a lot. And so we went in because there was concerns. And we went through that whole process, and that it was still a big debate at that time, that in the politics sphere, it was that because we're a pro-life state and abortion's banned and everything, that this was going to be a problem. But it wasn't a problem at all. And I want people to understand that when you have, like my wife, she had an ectopic pregnancy. We caught it very early. It was only like 5 weeks into her pregnancy or whatever. But there was no backlash. There was no recourse. And I remember talking to our doctor specifically, and I said, well, is this going to be a problem because we're, an anti-abortion state? And he said, no, because the fact of the matter is, if it's when it is a pregnancy that deals with the health of the mother, like they don't even classify it in the same. It's not even classified as an abortion. It's like, this is like, we need to save the mother, because if this pregnancy is allowed to persist, you're talking about the mother actually dying, or further complications, or you'll have to do a surgery to have this removed. I know your son probably doesn't understand what an ectopic pregnancy is, but
I'm going to explain it to him right now. And honestly, some of our viewers, Hotcake says, wait, did he call me Mike from Montana, or is that another Mike? You're not the only person here.
All right.
All right. So an ectopic. Hold on. I'm going to explain it to my son real quick. Do you know what an ectopic pregnancy is, Ethan?
I think it's when you're pregnant without, like.
Take your time. You can say it.
Like,
you can say
having.
Go ahead.
6.
Oh, like octopic, like octopus. Oh, so you're thinking of like quadruples, having multiple children in one?
No, like having.
Oh no.
Like having like a baby without like getting pregnant, like
a C-section, like take. Hold on, I'm trying to understand. Take your time, E. This isn't a rush. This is how we learn. So you can say anything you want without offending anybody. Okay, so go ahead and tell me what you're trying to say.
It's like having a baby without having sex, basically.
Okay, that's immaculate conception, and I could see your confusion with that. So let me explain what an ectopic pregnancy is. It's when the egg is fertilized, but it does not stay inside the uterus and the birthing area where a baby is supposed to go. So it grows outside of the birthing area, and this is a huge danger because it can continue to grow. It can create sepsis. It can create embolisms. It's very dangerous. So what Brian is saying is that they had to go in and remove the baby, and that is not even considered an abortion because that pregnancy isn't going to go to term. So does that help you understand what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So it's very dangerous. Yeah. So Brian, why? Okay, so you're in South Dakota. Is abortion illegal in South Dakota?
Yes.
Illegal. You cannot have an abortion in South Dakota.
Correct.
But life of mother, is that qualify?
Yeah. life of mother does qualify. Yes.
What about rape, incest?
That's a gray area. I'm not 100% sure on that because that wasn't my experience, but I'm just saying when it comes to the realm of like, of an actual, difficulties or when you have a problem arise in the actual birth of the child, that, it's classified differently and it's not considered an abortion. Cause what my wife actually ended up doing, since we caught it early enough, she received the Plan B pill to abort the pregnancy, but it wasn't classified as an abortion, and it was just so that they could clear it because basically in an ectopic pregnancy, what happens is the egg fertilizes in the fallopian tube,
right,
and it doesn't set in the uterus, like you said. And what happens is if that baby starts to develop, it creates a blockage, basically, and it can cause internal bleeding and all the rest. And that's what was happening to my wife. She was having internal bleeding, and she started bleeding even though she was pregnant.
So
he
Brian,
hadn't settled in the right spot.
Right. So just to get your thoughts on this, your position with Donald Trump, are you adamantly against his position, which is life of mother, rape, incest, in certain situations, and then 15 weeks? Are you against what he believes, or are you in favor of that to reach a compromise?
Yeah, I'm kind of I would say that I would say the way that I describe it best, I think, is to say I'm not necessarily pro-life, but I'm anti-abortion.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's exceptions. Ethan, do you have any questions for Brian? I think it's good that his wife's good, healthy, and okay, right? That's the big one.
Very good.
Yeah, so thank God she's okay.
Yeah, she was great. I mean, it's a tough issue, and it's hard. But I've received so much disinformation from my liberal friends and everything like that, and they go on about like, well, now for these exceptions to the rule or to what's going on, that they're just going to let these women die. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. It's not even classified in the same, it's not even considered the same kind of a medical procedure. If you have an ectopic pregnancy or if you have a stillbirth or any of that stuff, that is all classified separately from an abortion. When you go in to have an abortion, it's an abortion to get rid of the child, to kill that baby. When it comes down to like an ectopic pregnancy, or you have a stillbirth, or you know that the baby's no longer alive in the womb, it's not even classified as an abortion if you had to have that baby removed, or you got to do whatever you got to do, because it becomes about protecting the life of the mother. And that's how it's always been. And I know it for a fact because in my state, it is 100% illegal. We do not support abortion. We are the majority of South Dakota is like 76% conservative and anti-abortion. And so if in my state, I know that we were able to use something that is for an abortion purpose, but it's in a different, category because it's an ectopic pregnancy, then I just have a really hard time believing any of these other stories about women having to traverse multiple states to have an abortion, or that their doctors are looking at them and just watching them die and saying, I can't do anything because the government's got me hammered down.
Right. Well, Brian, I appreciate the call and you sharing with Ethan and I, man. Thanks for giving us the perspective. It's a good one. It is that if South Dakota, which is so adamant upon being pro-life, uses life of mother as the way it's intended, then where is everyone else? So thanks, brother, for calling in, man. I'm going to wrap it up with one more video, and then make sure to call back in whenever you can, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate your time, buddy.
You got it.
Yeah, great family. Glad to speak with you again.
Me too, buddy.
You have a good night.
Hey, yeah, me too. Thanks for calling, man. Thanks for giving us. It's a very powerful story, and it sends a very clear message. Thanks for clearing this up for us, man. We'll talk soon. So Brian from South Dakota, pretty powerful story. Ethan, I'm going to show you something. Joe Rogan did this.
Bye.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, I forgot to let you say goodbye. Quick video, Joe Rogan about the election. And this is 2 minutes, and then you and I are going to be done.
What do you think?
Here it is. Joe Rogan's someone I like a lot, and I think you will appreciate what he has to say. Here it is.
About that thing I sent you today that compares the number of people that voted in 2020 versus the number of people that voted in 2024 and in 2016.
Sure does look strange.
And in 2012. Have you seen it, Jamie? Yeah. It's so crazy. You look at it and you go, is this real? Oh, here it is. Because it doesn't seem to make any sense, because this is like one of the most consequential elections ever. I think everybody's pretty aware of that, and everybody is very dug in on their side. The left, he's Hitler. The right, he's saving us. And so more people voted, at least the indication would be as much people voted in 2020, if not more, probably more people voted. But let's look at the numbers. Like, look at the difference in how many people voted for Biden in 2020. It's unprecedented. It's way higher than any other time since 2012. And I'm sure probably before that, there was less people back then, right? So if you go back to when I was a kid, there was only like 200 million people in this country.
Yeah, and to be clear, 2012 and 2016 were not low turnout years.
No, they're all consistent. Yeah. This is what's crazy. They're consistent. Look, they're all like 60. Look at where the number is. It's all like 65 million. Is that what it says? Mm-hmm. So that's all the same every fucking time except 2020. In 2020, it goes way the fuck up. Look at it. It's like 80 what? Is it 82? Is that what it was?
It's like 81 and change.
81. Yeah. So it goes up.
Ethan, I apologize because
fucking size.
Because I want to get your apologize for the language, but Joe is like dad. That word is just part of his vocabulary. I tried to explain to everybody that 2020 was an abnormality because of mail-in ballots. And the United States government, through the states and emergency powers and judges, declared that legislation would not need to be passed through the state legislatures, that judges using emergency powers could alter state election law. And they unsolicited, with no solicitation, sent out ballots to people who were not registered to vote. And they flooded the United States, especially the swing states, especially in blue districts. Folks, there is no way that Donald Trump flipped 7 swing states that all went to Biden. There's no effing way. I haven't got into this because this is going to be in my book. Do you need to go?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Punch out. Love you. Tell everyone goodbye and say thank you to everybody, please.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Go get some drinks. I'm sorry, but you have your water right there. Why don't you drink your water?
It's not going to help.
Get out of here. Go get out of here. Come give me a hug.
Okay.
You did great, bud. Thank you so much.
Good
job on your grades, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I love you. So when we take a look at this, and you look at what Joe Rogan's saying, is the amount of votes that we're talking about is, you guys, it's what I've been trying to tell you. So when you say stolen election, that's not what happened. They just flooded these blue districts with mail-in ballots. That is why. And nobody is voting like they were. Republicans saw a huge lift, but our lift isn't from 2020. Our lift is from people leaving the Democratic Party and coming over to the Republican Party, disenfranchised voters. Their lift in 2020 was because these states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia flooded their states with mail-in ballots. And although not illegal, because they used emergency powers and used judges to declare under those powers, there's no precedent to demonstrate that that's illegal. Now, the only people who can change state election law are 2 people, state legislators, through amendments, propositions, and overall bills, but judges under emergency powers. This is the thing that I've been trying to tell you for 4 effing years, folks. 4 years I've been trying to explain to you that there was no stolen election, that it was unconstitutional because they solicited ballots without representation. They sent out ballots to people who had never voted in their life and obviously not voting again. This is what happened. Donald Trump should have been the president in 2020. He would have won. He had more votes than anyone. You have to understand this is something that people need to be held accountable for. We need to reflect on this and put provisions in place so this never happens again. That during an emergency situation that the power still remains with the states, not judges. Joseph, have you not listened to me at all? How long have you been watching my show? I'm so confused. How do you not know this? How did Biden get, I just told you, and I've been telling you for 4 years, how did Biden get 80 million votes sleeping in his basement? Trump had huge rallies in the tens of thousands plus more. Explain to me. You're not listening. Why should I explain it again if you haven't heard what I've had to say? Do you understand what I just said? You send out 30 million ballots from people who have not registered to vote. Under COVID emergency powers, judges find it to be constitutional to the state's constitution under those powers. People couldn't register in the DMV. They couldn't go to the local school. Everything was shut down. There was a 6-month wait list for most DMVs to get any type of assistance to register to vote. So they used this to send out ballots to people who had moved into the state, who had changed their address. These massive communities of blue voters were inundated with ballots, and they were told on CNN and everywhere else that Hitler is bad, that Orange Man's going to go ahead and you know, not solve COVID, and he's a Nazi, and he's a Hitler, and all this other bullshit. It's his fault. And they had a death ticker on CNN. And do you remember there were so many mail-in ballots returned that Nancy Pelosi asked for $900 million in additional USPS funds? $900 million. Donald Trump wanted to actually fire the Postmaster General over this. There's a paper trail here. All of these court cases. When you understand there's a difference between unconstitutional and illegal, they are not the same thing. Unconstitutional means that it goes against either written and specific laws and rights that are applied to the citizenry of the United States and limitations of government. There are things the government cannot do. There's things the executive branch can do, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. Illegal is breaking a law that is either federal or state or city that is declared and has precedent attached to it with punishment. Very big difference. We cannot, no. We have to worry about 2020. You must worry about 2020. You could not worry so much about 2020 that you didn't take care of business in 2024. We took care of business in 2024. But you now have evidence of what the Democrats did. They need to be held accountable. And how you hold them accountable is you specifically go through the litigation and the executive powers that were handed to them to make decisions on changing the state's voting system. And the Supreme Court voted in favor that judges could continue to do this. The American people need to handle this. Whoever the Attorney General is for President Trump needs to address this. It needs to be reopened, and the attorneys generals need to go and with absolute fervor ensure that this never happens again. people have been watching the show a long time. If you don't know where I stand, I've explained it to people. I have changed minds and hearts and minds when it comes to the stolen election. There's a very big difference between stolen and unconstitutional. And it's important to use the right terminology, because if you say stolen, there's no legal precedent for this. It's never happened before. But we saw it happen, and now you have visual proof. And it's what I told you to watch for. Didn't I tell you to watch for the decrease in votes? Well, now you have it. There you have it. Jessica says, I personally watch people voting the election who obviously didn't usually vote or even know how. They obviously didn't pay attention to politics much, but they knew they needed to vote out either Trump or Kamala. People will typically follow their instilled beliefs. What is needed to be done now to get this election certified? You're going to have, it's going to be certified, but we have to find out what the sentencing for Trump is and what their plans are. If Donald Trump is sentenced to prison, this changes a lot of stuff. That's a very big difference than what we're seeing. This is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, because if Democrats want a peaceful transfer of power, they're going to need to sit and tell the judge, who obviously was weaponized by the DOJ and the Biden administration, to back off and to make his sentence as lenient as possible. Or they're going to say full tilt and go for maximum penalties. And if he's in prison, can't serve, can he? Now, he'll get out on bail. The felonies are they're not even felonies. They're misdemeanors that have been increased to felonies. They're so insignificant that he will immediately post bail. He will serve no prison time. And then he will defer the sentencing past his presidency. But that could be enough for them to contest and not certify the election, because they would say that it goes against the constitutional amendment versus the 25th, that he's unfit to serve. That the founding fathers never would assume that anyone would elect a felon, but here we are. So we need to go ahead and litigate this. White House counsel has to look into it. The Supreme Court needs to make a decision on this. And this is what you'll see, and they will try to tie up the certification. Do I think Democrats do that? If Democrats do that, we will have absolute riots on our hands, and they will never win another election again. Because that is exactly what they've said about J6. That is insurrection. That is a coup d'etat. You are decertifying an election that was a legal election for the United States of America, and you're refusing to certify. That is circumventing our elected representatives, our citizenry of the United States through the democratic process of election, and our republic. But it's really important for you guys to understand, Trump should have won 2020. But how you say that is really important. It's really important. Matt, too many, it's the same thing in their minds. Something was taken from them that was unconstitutional, and laws were not broken. Melanie, you're not listening to me. Not one law was broken. Everything they did was legal. That's where you're not listening. Please tell me the law that was broken. The Supreme Court judged and decided that judges were allowed to alter federal election law under emergency powers in emergency situations. They had emergency powers. Judges ruled in favor, federal judges that were elected by Democrats, to allow mail-in ballots without registration to be given to people in counties where they felt, in those swing states, were unable to register because it was not possible, based upon the color of their skin, based upon their demographic, based upon the zip codes they lived in. And that was the arguments. Go look up the court cases. They're right there. Go look up Pennsylvania, extending it for 3 weeks on the count, removing signatures from ballots, sending ballots to people who were unregistered, adding additional ballots to the voter pool. None of it was illegal. That's what you're not hearing, folks. Now, legal and right are two different things. I'm not here for the moral argument. Morally, it's fucking corrupt. Those people should be put up on a yardarm. But I'm not here to talk about the moral capabilities. I'm blind, man. I'm just giving you law. It was not illegal. It should be. And the only way you do that is to prosecute a case against them. And once you do that, you will have precedent. And once you have precedent, you can make sure it never happens again. That is my point. Looks like the case will be dropped. Tina, you can't drop a case. You can choose not to sentence. No, you can't. Tina, you can't. Can you? I don't think you can. I don't believe once you're convicted, you have to sentence. Now, he can defer the sentence. He can reduce the sentence. He can plea bargain. He can do a lot of things. I mean, they can make him write a letter of contrition and call that his penance. They can do a lot, but they do have to sentence him. I don't think they can just dismiss the charges. The judge doesn't have that power to dismiss the findings of a jury unless there was some sort of abnormality in the case, right? If he gets sentenced, would Vance fill in? No, not if he's not sworn in. You have to swear the president in. He has to be inaugurated. So if they go ahead and say, because of the Constitution, and she worded it during her speech, her concession speech, she worded it that the fight's not over. Fight, constitutionally. However, we're going to protect blah, 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 blah. She set the groundwork for Democrats to challenge this and his capability and ability to sit as the U.S. president. Listen, I'm not telling you, you guys asked the question. I'm just telling you what could happen. Walls ensured non-legals voting in Minnesota. That is stealing the vote. I've already made my points. I've already addressed that too. Non-legals, please tell me the votes. How many people voted non-legals in the federal election for president? Please tell me. I think you can cite city and district elections, school board elections, because illegals can vote in that in a lot of states. Please tell me how many federal votes were cast by illegal immigrants in Wisconsin. I'll wait. Or Minnesota. I'll wait. Let me know. Let me know, Joseph. Thanks. I'll wait. I cannot see them sending him to prison. There will be an uproar like your country has never seen. Once again, that's not the question. The question is do you think they will certify the election? And I gave you scenarios that they should and absolutely what would happen if they don't. I just told you how they would do it. We are in a hypothetical mode right now. You have to understand there is a difference between illegal and unconstitutional. They are not the same thing. Remotely. You can find something unconstitutional without a jury and a trial. Judges can specifically say something is unconstitutional at the district, state, or the Supreme Courts at the federal level. You can find something unconstitutional from a judge who is in a city level or municipality or town by simply reading the Constitution and saying this is unconstitutional. You cannot. A zoning provision. This is against the state's constitution. This is against city ordinance. They can make those judges without conferring with anyone. You can't find someone guilty of something without due process. The difference between illegal and unconstitutional are not the same thing in any way, shape, or form. Joseph says, Joseph, see, this is the thing. I've been doing this for 4 years, bro. And I one word doesn't help me at all. So you can call in. I'll stay on for you. I'm already late. I'll stay on. Call in. Let's have a conversation. I would like to know how many illegal votes in Minnesota from illegal citizens were cast in the federal election, national election for president of the United States. Please let me know. Let me know. They said now Mershon is going to use the immunity argument to drop the case. Okay, but he doesn't have presidential immunity for during that time. It's going to be interesting. I want to hear. I hope he does. Listen, I at this point I don't care. I want them all dropped. I know that Smith has already backed down and wound down his cases. Letitia James, she's just a snatch. She's going to keep going. I know Fani Willis is going to back off, and I know Florida all of that's going to just drop. The document scandal is going to drop. The sentencing, I haven't heard. I'm interested to hear. But my understanding is that once you are charged with a crime, you have to be sentenced. Because there's no way to expunge. There is no way to be found innocent or guilty. There is no way to serve your time. You will be classified as a felon indefinitely. And you have to be sentenced and serve your penance so you can go ahead and no longer be a felon. Yeah, Joseph, I don't know. I see, this is nonsense. I don't know how to help you. I see brand new cars, drivers, all Somali. I don't care about any of that. That is nothing to me. I want facts. Give me numbers. Fed case, but states case can go forward. Federal cases, but state cases can go forward. What? I don't know what that means. Yeah, we won 2024. That's great. Let's still focus on 2020 because now it's in the open. Democrats are saying we did things wrong in 20. They're not saying they did things wrong. They're saying where are all these votes? Democrats are going to have to answer for this because their people are pissed and they're screaming, where are these votes? Democrats are going to have to explain this, and I'm just going to eat my popcorn. I can't wait to hear this. I can't wait to be vindicated. I know what happened with Obama. I know what they did with Somalians. I know the money they're getting. I know it's corrupt. I'm not questioning any of that. What I'm saying is, please tell me the illegals that voted in the federal election. How many votes were done by illegal immigrants? Just let me know. John Hager says ballot box stuffing. Not illegal. No, stuffing boxes is not. If it's collected from a source. Drop boxes are not. If it's collected from a source that is actually allocated to collect ballots. But if you go around and you just go to everybody's mailbox and grabs all their ballots and fill them out and go and stuff it, that's illegal. That is illegal. But collecting ballots, more than 5 for a family of 4 or 5, is actually legal in most states. And if you are a designated drop-off spot, you can stuff all the ballots you want. I agree with you. It needs to be addressed. It's not illegal. PA sucks. I know they do. I don't live here. I live close enough to know. And I've watched plenty of elections. Pennsylvania did a good job this time. They at least got it in. Mershon can dismiss the case just like on appeal. Dismiss the case, but the charges, Tina, my question is, can he not sentence Donald Trump? That is my question. She's talking about the 2 federal cases. There's a lot. I don't know what that means. I get confused because voting laws is up to states, but Trump wants to do paper ballots and a day of voting, so doesn't that make it federal? Right. There's certain things Donald Trump wants to do and won't be able to do. This is good. We're getting a lot of questions. We haven't done this in a while. We need a little, contestation and grumpiness in here once in a while. It's okay. Just don't get upset at me when I give you the answer that you don't like. That's the problem. I have spent 4 years studying this ad nauseum. From what I understand, if he has not been sentenced, the judge can drop it. Okay, let's find out. It's really easy to look it up. Let's look it up. And that's interesting. So what you're saying is dismiss charges, dismiss the case, no sentencing. Mershon's going to get disbarred if he does that. You guys understand that, right? Because then that shows that he sentenced and ran a trial that should have been dismissed. Because the immunity law shouldn't affect a non-federal trial. This is a state trial. The federal government has no power over the state. You guys, there's law here that we're not considering. I need a better answer than this. Because the whole thing is like the presidential pardon from Biden does not cover this New York State case. The federal charges were not even gone forward. The DOJ didn't go forward. The state's attorney didn't go forward. This was brought on by the AG. This falls under state precedent, state law. This has nothing to do with the federal government. Can a federal It's interesting. Yeah, that's exactly right. The federal government generally cannot tell a state judge to disregard a jury decision. Federal appeal or habeas corpus. Habeas corpus and federal appeal is not involved here. Federal intervention in specific case. Rarely if a state court decision violates federal rights or law. So that would be the immunity case, but he wasn't the president during the time of the decision. Presidential pardon. The president has the power to pardon federal offenses, but presidential pardons do not extend to the state convictions. Governors, not the federal government, can control. So the governor of New York can do it, but do you really think that's going to happen? New judge tosses the charges. Yeah, you could do a retrial and then ultimately you could do it on appeal. The appeals court could do it and hear it early, but they're not going to hear it by the 29th. They're not going to hear it by the time the election happens. Could they do a retrial? Yeah, but they would have to do a retrial. Every state has to do reforms to their processes and be specific. Minneapolis and St. Paul, check it out. Joseph, I have checked it out. That's why I'm asking you. You're the one who's making the claim, so you tell me. How many illegal votes were cast for the President of the United States in Minnesota? Illegal votes, which means an illegal non-citizen voted. Please tell me. What do you mean check it out? I have checked it out. I already know the answer. The answer is fucking zero. Zero. And if you do know, here's the problem. It's against federal and state law. So that means that the process worked and they were caught and stopped. How many went through and were actually counted? And if you think you have that evidence, then present it to me. And I will absolutely, 100%, I'll go to Judicial Watch. I'll go to Project Veritas. I will give it to them and we will file a case together and we will sue the state of Minneapolis or Minnesota. But I know we can't because they don't exist. Okay? Joseph Hillstrom is discussing housing and feeding them, not taking care of them, of vets is criminal. Yes, I agree with that. Matt, how do we keep 2020 from happening again? It needs to be sat with the Supreme Court, and they need to specifically address the state constitution. Those district courts have that ability inside their districts to alter and to rule on having emergency powers given to judges that overrule the state legislator. See, the reason why judges have powers is when the state legislature makes something, a piece of law, it doesn't get filtered through the judges. It then gets presented, it gets funded, it gets passed, it gets voted on through the House, through the Senate, or through the state House and Senate, not Senate, but through the House and the state legislature. And then if there is a constitutional challenge to this, then it gets reviewed by judges. None of that took place. Nobody proposed pieces of legislation to send out mail-in ballots to people who are not registered to vote. Judges took it upon themselves as hearing cases from Democrats who presented legal challenges to the processes before the election took place, is to send out mail-in ballots to people who were in impoverished areas, people who were low income, people who didn't have the ability during COVID, people who were affected by COVID at a larger rate. All these arguments were to give them mail-in ballots because they didn't have an opportunity to register to vote, or they don't have the opportunity to get there, or they can't leave their home, or there's a 6-month wait at the DMV, whatever it was. This happened predominantly Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, the swing states. And if you want to go ahead and clarify if I'm right or wrong, just simply look at what happened in Pennsylvania when I told you 2 hours into the election that they were looking for 400,000 votes that weren't there. You guys remember that when I told you? I said Pennsylvania is 400,000 votes over what they think they're going to get. They're anticipating 400,000 more votes that aren't there. Guess what? There weren't. All right, caller, what do you want to talk about?
Here's Joseph, Minnesota.
Joseph, how many illegal votes how many illegal immigrants voted in the national election inside Minnesota in 2020?
I didn't look it up. I just know.
You know? How do you know? I know, and it's zero.
Oh, okay.
Well, tell me where to go.
Here. I live
Great.
here.
Great.
I know.
So, give me a name. Name the person you know so I can have them arrested. I will go and I will call the Minnesota State Police tomorrow, and I will file an injunction at the local court, and we will have them arrested. Give me the name of the person.
Well, arrest me. I don't care, but
I don't want to arrest you. I want to arrest the person who's illegal, who's voting in a federal election, which is against state and federal law. That person needs to be in jail. I know
you have no.
I have
you
no
don't
idea.
have any understanding what happened here in Minnesota, do you?
Okay. Educate me. Tell me.
Okay.
All right, I'm listening.
Do you remember Paul Wellstone?
No, tell me all about Paul Wellstone.
Okay. Paul Wellstone was a senator, right? And Somalia had the bad stuff going on there, and he opened the doors to Minnesota, who has the highest population of Somalians. And then we got Omar,
Yeah, I know. I know Island Omar.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. All right. So I'm aware.
Minneapolis.
Okay.
And over the loudspeakers, they play their, I don't even know what it is, but their songs or whatever during their Muslim deal. And it's loudspeakers all over Minneapolis, actually, and kind of near the downtown area. Yeah, it's just like taking over.
Right. I'm aware of it. I've done a show on it. I've already said that, and I have no argument about that. I'm still waiting to hear how many illegal immigrants voted in the 2020 election in the state of Minnesota that were counted. I'm still waiting to hear.
Well, how am I supposed to know?
Right. Well, you can actually look up the voter registration. You can look up the database, and you can actually find votes that were not counted because of those type of things. Fraudulent votes take place. Double votes take place. They're usually seen as discrepancies. But if you go to the FEC, you can actually look up the database, and you can look up every single vote that was cast, and you can find out which casts were rejected because of an address that wasn't correct, somebody who did not seal the ballot properly, someone who had voted twice, once in person, somebody who had voted multiple times. And all of these things will have a paper trail. There are no votes.
Yeah.
There are no.
Okay.
Now, does that mean, well, hold on a second. So what you're saying is that there were enough illegal immigrant votes to change the outcome of the election in 2020 in Minnesota. That's what you believe that?
100% believe it.
Why?
100%.
Why do you believe it?
It's obvious.
Why?
There's not enough people that really supported fucking Biden back then at all. In 2020.
Right, but
there's no way.
Yeah, you know, I kind of agree with you actually.
Yeah, I mean, come on, I
agree. I agree with you, but that doesn't change, Joseph, what you said. What you said is the reason why Minnesota. Okay, if tell me I'm wrong. Please just say, Matt, you're wrong. I believe what you were saying is that illegal immigrants changed the election in Minnesota. That is what I believe you told me. Is that not the case?
I don't know if it's all illegal immigrants. It's people also, they would bus people from Chicago to vote here too, which, you know, I can't prove it.
Okay.
You know, whatever, but it's been, you know, like Veritas or whatever. They, you know, it's really corrupt. In Minneapolis, St. Paul, very corrupt.
Absolutely, 100%. It's outside of Pennsylvania, the second most corrupt two cities in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I'm with you. Yep.
Oh.
But corrupt and stealing an election are two different things. And
well, I can agree with that. It's not really. It's just corruption and swaying an election. How about swaying an election?
I agree with swaying. Yep, 100%. Swaying is a great word. Swaying is influencing, swaying, hijacking, influencing. Yep, all 100%. But you know what? None of that's illegal, and that's the fucking problem. Is that when that's the
right.
fucking all right, Joseph? Now we're going somewhere, because here's the thing, man. I take this shit real seriously, and I agree with you. But the difference is people don't understand the difference between unconstitutional and illegal. There are very distinct differences. I was just asked a question. I want to answer it real quick while you're on the phone. And dude, I love you. You know that. I'm not trying to be a dick to you, but I give everyone the same treatment over this. You got to bring the facts.
No,
You got to show me
that you piss me off too.
Good.
In terms of, I don't agree with everything you say, but you know what? 9 times out of 10, I do.
Good.
We come to an agreement. You just get to the end point and figure it out.
Right. I'm with you, bud. Somebody asked me a question that said, and we can answer this together. It says, Matt, because something is unconstitutional. I gotta find. I gotta find it. Hold on. I had it in my head and I lost it. Hold on. Oh shit, where'd it go?
You got it.
Okay, unconstitutional. It was Frederick. Okay, it says, question. So if you're guilty of doing something unconstitutional, there are no repercussions. The key thing that is in that statement. Well, Joseph, let me read it to you. So if you're guilty of doing something unconstitutional, there are no repercussions. Question mark. What's the key word in that sentence? So if you're guilty of doing something unconstitutional, there are no repercussions. What do you think the key word in that sentence is?
It's unconstitutional.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. And guilty. Guilty is no. It means that you've had a court case. You have been convicted.
You're already admitting guilt,
right?
And then it's like a double negative.
That's
you're
right.
Already unconstitutional and you're guilty, so you already admitted your guilt. So.
Well, doing something unconstitutional doesn't mean you're guilty of anything, and there is no penalty or crime because something that's unconstitutional. Now, unless you go out and say, I'm going to go out and kill somebody. Well, that very different, but those have nothing to do with the Constitution. The right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is guaranteed to the individual. If you go and kill someone, well, your state laws are going to go ahead and impact you. Your federal laws are going to impact you. And you will have a court case. You will have a process. You will have a jury. You will have a trial. You will have conviction. You will have sentencing. Unconstitutional is saying that you can't do this because it infers and interferes with somebody's rights. So when we say, let's just make up a new term, and let's say everything goes electronic, okay? And everything goes electronic. And there is a new invention of an interface that doesn't use binary ones and zeros to communicate with computers, that is not verified, that has not been identified as illegal, that is not considered hacking because this processes is new. Well, you would have to go ahead and find that doing that was against the state's constitution, against the federal constitution, and against the laws of the land in other cases that are similar. And then you would bring charges and a case against that person. But you can't hold them accountable for a crime until it is deemed criminal. So
I know, but how do they? I mean, they've been holding Trump accountable for crimes that he never committed and already prosecuted.
Okay, that is a completely different conversation. What I'm trying to make a comparison contrast to is the following, is that when people say, well, the COVID happened, it was a massive pandemic, and because of an epidemic, and what happened is that the courts and the lawyers went to judges and pled for people to say and plead their case, hey, black people are having a hard time. It's in their community. They're not able to get to the DMV. They can't register. We've had 26,000 people move into this district, and they can't register to vote. We need to send them a mail-in ballot. And the judge went, yep, do it. 26,000 fucking ballots went out. And those people are sitting at home, and they have two things that they get excited about. One is that toilet paper or chicken were actually at the store, and the second thing is getting the mail. And they go and get the mail and they see a ballot, and on the news they hear, we need you to vote. This has to happen, blah, 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 because he's Hitler. He's killing people. Here's the death ticker. You remember all this. Yeah. And those people voted. They got counted, and that was called solicitation. And it's against the Constitution of the United States of America. It's against the state's constitutions. You cannot solicit ballots. You cannot solicit registration. You can register people. You can take them to vote, but you cannot entice them to vote. You can't send them a ballot if they're not registered to vote. And that is why we see
Matthew,
this. Yeah.
Matthew, we can agree that the whole election in 2020 was unconstitutional. And
Yes,
the
sir.
fact of the matter is, it wasn't stolen. It was just unconstitutional.
Yes, sir.
Can we agree with that?
100%. And I will die shoulder to shoulder with you fighting anyone who says it wasn't. Yes, I agree with you. 120%.
Okay. So I agree. It's not stolen. It's unconstitutional. And it was against everything we stand for, really.
Yes, it was absolutely influence to the point of manipulation. And now this is why we should talk about it, because there's evidence. People, I told you this was, I said, when we have this election in 2024, you may not remember this, but everyone else does. You're going to see the difference in the numbers. You're going to see the difference in the numbers, and people are going to go, what the fuck happened?
Right.
How did, I know.
Hey, the only reason I watch you is because you're smarter than me.
No, I don't know about that.
And there's not many people that are. And you are. So I'll give you that compliment.
You're a smart guy. I like you, Joseph. And I love your additions to the show. Thanks for calling in, man, and having a conversation with me, dude. Really means the world to me that you did that.
Hey, one last thing, though.
Yeah,
I was one that asked about my nephew wanting to enlist in the Air Force, and I said, no, you got to get commissioned. You got to get...
Yep.
You got to get everything you got in writing, on paper.
Yep.
And there you go.
Yep.
You know, and serve your country.
Yep.
I wouldn't be where I'm at without having the military backing.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing career, and it does wonders for people. You
Exactly.
You should see how stupid I was before the military.
Exactly. And you know how much insight you got above and beyond anyone that's never, who's never served, which, they chose a different path. But I think military members are very smart.
Yeah, they've seen the shit that nobody wants. Yeah.
It goes back to basics in life. Like, you're close to death a lot of times. And it really brings, just my little spiel. It brings you close to appreciating life and what America's about and how lucky we are to have this country as our own.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish young men, women that serve, they know, but people that don't, they gotta know that we love our country, and a lot of the men and women died for it. So
yeah.
On that note, I want to let you go, but yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
I lost friends. I lost a lot of good buddies. But anyways, I'll leave it at that.
Joseph, I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for calling in, man.
That was my little poetic justice towards
moment, your idiom.
that. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Take
I'm going to
care,
wrap
buddy.
this up. Hey, appreciate you, man. I really do. Thanks for calling in. That means the world to me. See ya. I will take people who call in and stand their ground. I just want people to have a conversation. It's not making people look bad. It's not arguing them. It's not making trying to feel stupid. The question is a question, and it's a good one. How do you track illegal votes? Simple. You base it against the registry and people who are actually registered and qualified to vote. It's the same thing you do when you walk into your polling place. Oh, I got a call. This is Matt.
Hey,
What's
Matt.
up? What's up?
I got a quick question. I've been trying to find this information on the internet.
Can I finish answering this one real quick that I was talking when you called?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Cool. No, don't be sorry at all. So, folks, I've already said that Joe Biden should pardon Donald Trump, and I would expect him to do so. Gerald Ford did it for Nixon. It's good business. And I think if we want to start and actually get on the road, and other presidents don't want to have this legal bullshit and legal hawking happen, you got to kind of wipe the slate clean. So I would expect Joe Biden, just a gut, that he pardons Hunter and Donald Trump. Now, once again, he cannot pardon state crimes. He cannot. Even if that is in an appeal court at a federal level, it doesn't matter. He can't. President of the United States cannot pardon. Governor can. That's his job. You guys got to understand, I've told you this 100 times. The president is not the president of the people. He's the president of the states. He's the president of the governors. Your leaders are the governor, senators, legislatures, not leaders, but elected representatives. Your governor is your president. That's the way this works. The simplest way I can put it. Second, can states bring federal charges? No. And federal government can't bring state charges. They can work in coordination with the states, but they have to go through the states' processes. And the states can go ahead and bring federal charges through the federal government, but they ultimately have to bring the federal government into the case or hand the case over to bring federal charges. These are my points. The 10th Amendment stops these processes. That's why we have the 10th Amendment. All right. Kevin, give it to me.
Yeah. But
What's your
Biden could
question?
also pressure Hochul.
Sure. But do you want to know what that's going to look like? Can you imagine the mess that's going to create? Can you imagine
I don't think Biden's in a position to pressure anyone.
No, I don't think even if he was the president, do you want that on your case, that you have a president who's circumventing the 10th Amendment? Look what happened when President Trump called Georgia and asked Kemp to figure out what the fuck where the votes were. They want to crucify. Can you imagine Biden? You think Biden's going to put his neck out for that? I don't think so. Anyway, give me your question, buddy.
I had a quick question. As far as voter registration goes, okay, if you look at the number of people that registered in 2024 or registered after the 2020 election, that number would be added to, say, I got to word this correctly. If you look at the difference in the number that voted in 2024, we'll say there's a 15 million difference.
Okay.
There were 15 million less voters in 2024
right,
than there were in 2020. So now we have a number, 15 million less.
Right.
And now if you take the newly registered voters that weren't registered to vote in 2020, you would add that number to the 15 million. You follow me?
Yeah,
because they couldn't vote in 2020 because they registered after. Once you register, you're registered.
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to find the information on how many people registered to vote after the 2020 election.
Oh, I have it. I have it. I've got both numbers from Democrats and Republicans. I got to see. I have a database that everyone goes, "What are you looking up?" I'm looking up this type of shit. Guys, I'm writing a book, so it's not. It's how many Democrats registered? I think I've got this actual specifically written down. All right, we'll see if that works. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Okay. $45.1 million voters were registered as Democrats, while about 33.3 million were registered as Republicans.
Since 2020?
No. I'm just telling you the total. See, a lot of people think that there's 140 million Republicans and Democrats out there. People don't understand that the highest party are unregistered independent voters. They're not registered to a party. They're voters. They're registered to vote, but they're not party specific. They're neutral.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh God, yeah. The biggest voter
There
group
are
in the country are
independents than there are Democrats or Republicans.
No, there's more registered no political affiliation than Republicans and Democrats. They make up almost 66% of the electorate who vote. It is the large. Yeah, dude. There's a shit ton of people who don't belong to a party. They just don't identify as being Republican or Democrat. Yeah. And they're not specifically independent or libertarian or Green Party or whatever else. They're not.
Non-party voters.
Non-party voters. Yeah. So that's why it's really hard for me to tell you. I don't have the exact number. I do have it. Like I know that 2.9 million Democrat voters moved into the Republican Party registration over the last 4 years. I know that for a fact. It was almost 3 million switched.
Wow.
But I can get you the actual number. I'll get you the
what
actual
was the
number.
offset to that? How many Republicans went to the Democrat Party?
Well, that's a great point. It was not even close. No, that's with net neutral positive. So I've already removed the Democrats that have left. So that's net gain. Yeah. Real quick, Donald Tomlinson says, "How do you prove that I voted?" I can't prove that you voted, but the United States government can prove that you voted. That information is not available to me. But I can prove you voted illegally because your vote didn't count, and it'll be classified as an illegal vote. And you can use that through the Freedom of Information Act. I can't find out who it was, but I can find out how many votes were address invalid, signature invalidation, not a proper ballot, not filled out properly. You have all that information. It's public knowledge. What else you got, Kev?
No, I was trying to explain what I learned watching the show about how these unsolicited ballots were mailed out to COVID emergency. And the number was like 30 million ballots were mailed out to unregistered voters who are now registered voters because they voted without a registration.
Well, that's not the way it works, though. That's not the way it works. You're in some states, if you vote, see, this is where the emergency powers declaration kicks in, is that they voted, but they didn't get registered. That's yes. They were never registered.
Now that they voted, aren't they registered voters?
No,
or
not all
were
of
they
them.
taken off the rolls?
Depends upon the state. Depends upon the state.
That's why there's a discrepancy in the number of voters between 2020 and 2024 is less than 30 million.
Yes. I tried to explain that and I'm not frustrated with you. I'm just like, you got it. You're clicking. You understand what I'm trying to say to you. Somebody says, Matt's pumping the hand. I think you were holding back, Matt. No, I'm pumping my hand because my wrist hurts. I have carpal tunnel, man, because that's all I do is sit on this fucking thing and do this show all day.
That's a defensive one Olivia gave you.
Yeah, she punches my ass. Let me see. Guilty. He's swaying next election. Kevin, innocent until proven guilty. Right. Citizens United corporations are people and money is speech. That's true. I'm just reading all these things. 53
While you
seats,
were
40.
Explaining to the other guy.
Yeah, go.
I wanted to say, lobbying is legal, even though it's really bribery. They made it illegal for politicians to take bribes. The same thing applied to COVID emergency powers.
Right.
They made it legal to do something that shouldn't be legal.
Right.
So that's the difference.
Yeah. That's it. So
right?
Yeah, well, okay, let me ask you a question. Let's go to the first day of the first murder ever in the continental United States. And you can't do this because we're magistrates before. But let's just go ahead and just take a country, okay? Country forms, and 12 of us.
Before there was a law.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no United States. There's no Europe. This is a new world. We call this Earth 2, and it's you and me and like 27 people, and we're here and ooga booga, and we're cutting sticks and starting fires, and we go ahead and skip 16 million years of evolution, and we get right to fire. Okay, and then we go ahead and we fornicate, and we have some kids. All right, now we've got about 700 people in our town. Okay. And now we've learned to use charcoal on the cave drawings. We've moved to charcoal on parchment and leather, and we're starting to understand printing the pulp of fibrous trees. And we've got paper. Okay, and now we're not civilized, but we want to have some rules because we know as a growing community, not everyone's going to hold because the elders are dying, and we want to hold our traditions and we want to hold our culture. So we go ahead and we get our writing utensil that we've now encased in hollow bamboo and charcoal, and we have a writing utensil, and we've got fresh paper from a fibrous plant as we sit in front of the fire that we created, and we're drinking Java from a cocoa plant, and everything's great. And you look at me and say, Matt, what laws are we going to create? And I'm like, well, let's go ahead and start with, we shall not take another person's food. So we write that down, and essentially, thou shall not steal, right? So we do the steal thing, and then we like, hey man, nobody should be humping Kamala, my wife. And I'm like, that's a good rule, Kevin. Let's go ahead and make sure Kamala is protected. So we write down, thou shall not commit adultery. All right. So we start writing down all of our rules and laws. Okay. And we're like, we've got them, man. There's 10 of them here. These are perfect. Thou shalt not bury thy crap. All these things. We've got these great rules in our society. Are you following me, Kev?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Then we say, let's go and tell the people. So the people gather around in our little town hall in our bamboo huts, and we've got some irrigation happening. We got running water coming, so we don't have to worry about burying our shit anymore. We can just let it go ahead and run downstream. Everything's good. And we have our town, and we say, these are our rules. These are our laws. The things we cannot do. And everyone goes, these are great. And yay, yay. And we pass it. And we have a Volksgrad, and everyone's happy. Okay. So now at this point, somebody goes and tries to fuck Kamala. And we grab that guy. We're like, you're going to go to jail for 30 days because we have the laws in place and you broke them. And the guy goes, damn it, she's a good piece of ass. And we're like, yeah, but you can't sleep with Kamala anymore. Kevin's going to get really mad. So we throw him in the bamboo jail for 30 days. Then he gets out. And he goes and fucks Kamala again. And Kevin's like, son of a bitch. Stop fucking my wife. And he's like, I had to, man. She's just amazing. And what do you want me to do? And we throw him in jail for 90 days this time. And on the third time, he comes out, and you're watching this guy. You're like, yo, you're not fucking my wife. I'm telling you, pal, because something's going to happen. And he stays away from her for a month. And then you go on a hunting trip to go ahead, and caribou are migrating across, a little bit cold. We've moved to winter gear. And you come back, and you see your wife's woolly parka outside hanging up. And somebody else's is too. And it's made of red fur bear. And the only person who wears red fur bear is the guy that keeps fucking Kamala. And you open the door, and there he is, mounted in a position that she has never gratified you with. And you pick up your hunting spear, and you kill that fucker dead.
No law.
Okay. And we all go back. And we go around the fire. And what do we do with Kevin? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? Well, let's check the law. Well, did anyone put in murder? What's murder? Did anyone put in killing? Like an animal? Like hunting? He can't hunt? No. He took one of our members' lives. He can't do that. Well, there's nothing that says he can't. Well, then we need to write the law, don't we? Yes, we do. Let's sit down. Rule number 11, thou shalt not murder for fucking Kamala. Okay. So we write it down. I'm almost done with my story. Now we have a law. And the next time somebody fucks Kamala and you kill them, Kevin, that motherfucker's going to jail. And he's in trouble. But what happens if you accidentally throw your spear and you hit him? You killed him. Do you go to jail? So we get back around the fire again and we go, God bless America that doesn't exist. Kevin threw his spear and he killed another person. He murdered them. We need to murder Kevin. And then somebody goes, wait a second. This sounds like manslaughter. And people are like, what the fuck is manslaughter? Well, let me tell you. He accidentally did it without ill intent. It doesn't matter. It's still murder. He broke the law. Now, wait a second. That goes against our law. That goes against our Constitution. It's unconstitutional for you to go ahead and apply a crime without the intent or proving it. Kevin, it was an accidental death. So even though he is guilty of murder, he is not guilty of breaking our law. Because what he did was an accident. We need to establish that self-defense or accidental death has a different punishment than homicide or murder. What the fuck is homicide? Shut up, Bill. Just listen to me. And then you have the difference between something that is guilt and you're convicted for and something that's unconstitutional.
Just
Do you
say
agree?
it may be a little suspicion that the spear went up his ass.
That's right. It came out his throat.
I'm going to need a defense attorney. Damn good one.
What the fuck's a defense attorney? You guys are all weird. You've been eating some of that loopy peyote. What's peyote? You get my point, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So,
but there is no precedent. It's never been done before. It's never been addressed.
Right.
And they made it legal to do something that shouldn't have been legal.
There it is. So we need to write the law. And we need to say that emergency powers during epidemics goes with the current rules in place and those who enforce them, judges. And if any new law needs to be written, it must be done through the state legislature. And it needs to be quantified, certified, and stamped through the normal processes of creating law. And it needs a 2/3 majority if it's going to be a new amendment. And if you have to remove amendment, it needs to be a 3/4 majority. Simple. But guess what? That's there.
Otherwise,
Kevin, they didn't do it.
Of emergency. Go ahead.
Yes. No, but they didn't do it because they knew that they couldn't get a 2/3 and a 3/4 pass in the time they needed to. That's why they didn't do it. So they used the judges and emergency powers under COVID. These cases are right. Folks, listen, you either need to wait for my book, or if you really care about this, I'll fly you out. You got to pay for it. I'll fly you out and I'll sit you down and we can sit down for 2 or 3 days and I will show you everything I have and you will go back and go, holy fuck, Matt has this on lockdown. Because I can show you every single case that they brought during COVID and I was watching these. And they were trying to extend law. They were trying to circumvent law. They wanted to do an electrical registration similar to people who were not registered to vote, who were on Obamacare, to use the computer system that they were already registered with the government to sign in and be able to cast their vote. That was shot down. That was presented in Pennsylvania. I have got a litany of fucking cases that were completely shot down. And then you have the ones that passed. Georgia not having to check for signature. Georgia that you didn't have to have the envelope on the outside of it filled and signed. These things were all passed when you were worried about COVID, when you were watching the CNN or Fox News and watching the death tickers. I was paying the fuck attention. Go ahead.
These were all temporary powers, right? So once the COVID emergency was over, those powers were they were gone.
Yeah, because don't you remember when they
Everything went back to normal.
Yeah, because don't you remember when they actually granted emergency powers to the states and then they were pulled away? Somebody said, why didn't they vote down ballot? Some of them did. Do you know how many votes that were just for president and were left blank? The most ever in election history. I can't even tell you the number. I've got it somewhere for you. But that's data you can get. Votes that were single cast for POTUS, but nothing else. These are people who've never voted before. Some of these people more than likely were illiterate and had to ask somebody where Biden's name was. Folks, this is not a surprise. Just go look at the fucking numbers. Look at the disparity between 2020 and every other election on the history of the United States of America. Our population went up 6 million over the last 4 years. Not 40.
Right.
And not all those people registered to vote. Not all those people are over 18. And not all of those people didn't die. There is no way we went up by 40 million registered voters in a period of COVID when you couldn't even register to vote. There's only one answer. The answer is they sent it out to unregistered voters. Or they hacked the Dominion servers and cheated. And 40,000 people were in on it as they did this clever guise to go through the court systems just to confuse you. Folks, Occam's razor, man. Occam's razor is 100% where we're at. When you go ahead and take out the most improbable, or take out the probable and take out the things that are likely to see, no matter how improbable something may be, that's usually your answer. They did it right in front of you, and somehow people grab this stolen narrative. It was Dominion servers.
But
it was
all of those people that were non-registered were able to vote, being non-registered voters. Correct? In 2020.
Say it again.
You voted,
say
but you
say it
weren't
again.
registered.
Yeah, voted but not registered.
Okay. But once they voted in the 2020 election, did that grant them registration to vote in 2022?
Some it did. John Haggart just asked a question. 10 times more mail-in ballots in 2020 with less than 1% ballot mistakes. I don't know what that means. Rephrase your question. I can't explain it, but I don't understand it. It depends on the state. But if you sent in,
states had different laws.
But can you tell me the processes for that? Because there's not supposed to be any registered voters, unregistered voters voting. So there was no processes for that. Now, if they went through those votes and singled those votes out and automatically registered those people, then those votes can be contested today because those people would have had to have gone and re-registered. But we know they didn't because we don't see those votes in 2024. They're missing votes.
But there is some increase in 2024.
Yeah, there is.
But
of course,
not the increase there was in 2020. Period.
The reason why is that there were people who were registered who left. I want you to imagine this. You're a first-time voter. You've never voted before. You don't care about politics. And all of a sudden you're watching CNN and then you get empowered. You lose your job. You fucking COVID sucks. You hate your life. Life sucks. You're going to lose your house. You're broke. And you say, you know what? I'm going to vote. And you start watching CNN. And they tell you about Orange Man bad and Trump's Hitler and he's killing everybody. And the reason your mom just died is because of Donald Trump. And you're like, you know what? Maybe I should vote. And you're like, oh, fuck. I don't know. I can't get registered. I can't go to the DMV. And you get a mail-in ballot in the mail. And it says, this is your mail-in ballot. Fill this out, return it at a local drop station, or put it back in the mail with a prepaid envelope, and you can vote for the President of the United States, blah, 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 blah. You're pre-registered because of COVID, blah, 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 blah. And you go ahead and you do that. And then 4 years goes by and your life gets worse and inflation goes up and you lose your other mom and you lose your wife and your kid and you're like, fuck, what is going on? My life is shit. They promised me they were going to fix it. And this time you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm registering, I'm going to vote, and I'm going to vote for Donald J. Trump. That happened a lot. I don't know how many times that happened, but I will promise you when the data comes in, I'll find out how many people changed their vote, because we can look at the census data, we can look at the counties, we can look and see who voted one way and switched. We'll get that data. It's just not going to happen for a couple of months. But I promise you that
you'll
number
get the data, not the names.
Yeah, but you'll find out that number is probably the highest it's ever been in U.S. history. People who voted with one party the previous to the next. Now, that happens all the time because if you have a shitty president, they usually vote for the opposing party. But I promise you that this happened more times from 20 to 2024 than any other time in U.S. history.
It happened to me with Obama. I hate to admit it.
Yeah, it happened.
I hate to admit it. The first time when Obama came out, there was something about Romney I did not like.
Yeah, well, Romney was shit. John Haggard, I don't know what John, call in, dude. I don't want to have. I cannot have.
Listen, Matt.
Yeah, you got to go.
Let me get off.
See you, buddy. Bye. That was Kevin. I love him. John, I can't have a 2-word intellectual conversation with you. You putting mathematically impossible or solve that, or I can't have a conversation with you. I've done this too many times for 4 years with people. I refused. I can't answer it. I don't know what the fuck you're saying, John. So rephrase your question, man. You're frustrating the shit out of me. I'm not your enemy. Why are you so fucking angry? Why are you so adamant? Just ask a question and take your time and phrase it, or call in. Matt, please answer John. He's impatient. I don't know what the fuck John's asking me, because the last thing I saw from John was, fuck. Oh my God, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've posted like 47 times in like 10 minutes. How is it that in 2016, the average error rate for mail-in ballots was 20%? 10 times more in ballots in 2020 with less than 1%. Cite your information. Where are you getting your information? I can tell you why. I can definitely tell you why it was less in 2024, but you have to prove to me that there was 20% ballot mistakes in 16, which probably sounds about right. 1 in 5 ballots? Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll tell you why. I already told you. I already answered that question, John, but you're just not listening. John, I just told you that they went to release and reduce the requirements for mail-in ballots. They took off envelopes. They took off the signatures. They took off valid addresses. They took off if somebody did not fill in the bubble completely and just filled it out kinda, that they don't reject that ballot. If one has a mark on it or one has 2 circles on it and they crossed it out, they normally would have to put that to the side. They reduced regulations because the preponderance of new voters who had never voted before, because they sent out mail-in ballots, was also cases that they litigated and presented to these judges. I've already answered that question. So there were probably just as many, if not more, mistakes than 2016. The problem is they didn't fucking care, and they counted them anyway because they got the judges to overrule the state's fucking voting laws. I've already answered this question. I've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes later than I have to be. I demand a little fucking respect from you. I'm answering your fucking question. Stop being an impatient dick. In 2020, when all the machines were destroyed, I don't know what that means. What machines were destroyed? Come on. Glenn, hotcakes, I'm brutal. My apologies. I don't even know what you're talking. Dude, Mike, I'm not even reading your shit. I'm too busy trying to figure out what the hell John wants. Ernie Lewis, I don't remember. Where did it happen? Yeah, tell us where. Where did they destroy machines? Because I will tell you this, voting machines are often destroyed. When they become obsolete or they're upgraded or they're no longer in service, they destroy them so they can't be replicated. So machines get destroyed. You guys, you're so... The problem is that I'm sitting up here answering every one of your questions, and I'm answering it with provable, researchable information. And if you're just sitting here and continue to throw more questions at me without saying, you know what, that's a really good point. I'm going to go look that up, see if Matt's full of shit. And when you find out I'm not, go, maybe I don't know everything I think I know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Matt's been doing this for a really long fucking time and he's heard all this shit before and he knows what he's talking about. And if that's the case, then that deserves a little bit of respect. And for you to say, I'm going to stop, I'm going to wait, I'm going to hold, I'm going to go research, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to ask you another question. And then if you're right there, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some deference and I'm going to listen to you. And I'm going to learn because you know more than me. If you're not doing that, it is really disrespectful. I'm just letting you know. But there's no reason to post 27 times in like 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. I'm answering questions. I'm talking to people. I'm doing the best that I can. But if you're trying to get me in a gotcha, it's not going to work. Because I've heard all these arguments before. I watched all 67 some odd cases and the 6 that weren't televised. I read the case notes. I've spent every day for 4 years working on a book on this. I don't know what else to tell you. But you got to bring evidence. You got to bring evidence. Take your ass on, brother. Go watch some hockey. No, I'm gonna stay on with my people because I love you guys, and I can tell you when you're being a dick. And just be like, you're being a dick. Why are you being a dick? And we don't. If you get upset with me, well then fuck you. Don't get upset. There's no reason to get upset. I'm just telling you, man. I'm answering every question to the best of my ability, and I'm giving you the right answers. And the things that I don't know, like Tina, I'm like, hey, Tina, can they do that? Can he dismiss an entire case that was adjudicated? He was found guilty and not sentenced. Can he do that? Isn't that a formality? But I don't know. I didn't know the answer to that question. She said he can, so I believe her. Why? Because Tina Savage knows her shit. She knows the law, and I trust her. The camper explosion, can't remember the location. You mean Nashville, Tennessee, right outside the old Pac Bell building? Yeah, I just proved that too. You don't watch my show, do you, Ernie? Yeah, you need to go back and watch some of my shows, and then we can start this conversation. You need to start fresh. Bathe in the rivers of Lake Minnetonka and clear out your soul. I already did the camper explosion. In fact, I'm the guy who broke and looked on Google Earth and found the fucker before the news media did. I already did that show. I even told you the direction of the explosion, what type of explosives this guy used, and that it had absolutely nothing to do with bringing down a building or stopping the Dominion server that was not even there. It's an old Pac Bell building. I did that episode. Go watch it. Just go to YouTube, go to Rumble, type in Nashville bomb or Pacific Bell building, AT&T building, whatever. I'll try to find it for you, Ernie, but I already did that thing. You don't need to look it up. I already did it for you. Ernie, I've been doing this a while. I'm pretty good at it. Just ask around. I left the ranch. I was so upset. Either of my uncles. Ernie, thank you, because I don't remember that. I do. We love you too, Matt. I appreciate you guys. And don't get mad at me. Where did he go? Why is he mad? Where did he go? Does everyone forget about the explosion post-election? I do. Explosions happen. Did you forget that the CIA raided the British SAS raided a German hotel room where they were holding the Dominion servers? Did you hear that story too? Yeah, that was bullshit. Did you hear about how they watermarked the ballots and Donald Trump watermarked every ballot in the United States? Do you remember that? Yeah, that was bullshit too. That didn't happen. So there's a lot of stories out there, but they don't mean that they're true. All you got to do is research them. Hi, who am I talking to? What do you want to talk about tonight?
It's Hotcakes. Mike from Georgia. How you doing, bud?
What's up, Mike from Georgia? Why do you think I said you were from Montana?
I'm the only Mike that matters. I'm sorry.
Oh shit!
I didn't know.
Right. So this is a neuroses. this is a neuroses thing. I got it. Okay. So what's up? What do you want to talk about?
No. All right. So a question here that I asked a couple of my workers at work today. What do you think happens with Ukraine, and what do you think happens with Israel next?
Oh shit! So Israel's a lot more complicated.
You want to have this combo tomorrow?
Yeah, no. I'm already burning it, dude. Like I love people, and I love people who are thinking, and I just ask them not to get offended when I don't agree with them, and I can agree with them. They just need to present the facts, and I don't do speculative like Joe Hillstrom, when he's on the phone, he's like, I don't know. I just think so. And I'm like, oh, well, that's an opinion. And you can have an opinion, and I'm not even going to argue with you. But when you tell me it's real, you're going to have to bring the facts. So let me bring the facts on Iran. No, let's do Ukraine and Russia. Honestly, I think Putin and Vladimir Zelensky want a peace deal more than anything. I think they want to get the fuck out of this, because I think Zelensky wants to go on the offensive for a few reasons. One is because the United States is telling him not to. And this is the problem when you go in and install a new regime, and the CIA went in and replaced and put him in, is that I've said a long time that one of our allies or ourselves are going to be at war with Ukraine, or at least in an open conflict with Ukraine, in the next 10 to 15 years. And people go, how do you possibly know that? History. Because the 26 different countries that we've run proxies for, that we've tried to install new democracies, we are in open conflict with, or have been, or Obama bombed the shit out of them for 8 years. So it's called being around the block once or twice. So I think Zelensky wants to go on the offensive because he's pissed and he doesn't like what happened to his country. But his country will be fine. We're going to have to rebuild it. We'll put a lot of money into it. So I think what Trump is going to do is do a few things. He's going to go to the United Nations and NATO, and he's going to tell NATO, listen, you guys, fair share 2.0. I told you guys to pay your fair share for the defense budget, but now because NATO, we proxied your war and we put in billions, you're going to fucking pay for it. You're going to rebuild Kyiv. You're going to rebuild the 6 major cities around Ukraine, and we're going to strike a peace deal. We're going to tell Zelensky that we're going to put a genital cuff on him, and if he fucking even remotely goes into Russia, that we're going to cut him off at the frickin' knees. He's going to go to Putin. He's going to tell Putin, listen, you want Nord Stream 1 and 2 open. We're going to get energy independence. You give us your energy at this price. We want a peace deal. We will not move with NATO. We'll leave Ukraine for at least the next 2 decades and not bring them into the bosom of NATO, because I've got those guys by the balls, and this is where we're at. Because without the United States, NATO falls apart and is complete dog shit. I think that's what he does. He proposes a peace treaty. They both sign it. It takes a year to get it done. We're probably going to give him another $100 billion, and then we'll call it good. That's my prediction.
So a year more of the war, in essence, right?
I believe Trump's going to end it. It's not going to happen overnight. I think they'll strike a deal, but there needs to be a mutual de-escalation. You can't just be like, all right, everybody, let's go home, because that's not the way it works. I mean, you have infrastructure, logistics, you've got regiments in place, you've got mechanized divisions in place. It's going to take a while to de-escalate this. But what will happen is there'll be a demarcation line, and they will move back 3 miles each. Will move back 3 miles and slowly start moving back to redraw to their lines. And you'll have like a demarcation zone where neither can cross. And if they do, it can create conflict, and it'll be a step down process. It may not take a year. It may take 6 months. But the point is, I believe he'll go in. He's going to get NATO to pay for the rebuild for Ukraine, a lot of it. And they're going to have to pitch in. And with that will be 2 decades guaranteed that Ukraine doesn't join NATO, maybe 15 years, whatever it is. That'll satisfy Putin because he'll be fucking dead by then. But he'll guarantee Russia has at least an open border with Ukraine for a period of time. They'll probably give him Donbass region and give him the eastern segment of that, stop his access to the Black Sea, and call it good. And that's what
you think they will
do.
Stop the access to the Black Sea? Because I felt like that was probably the most lucrative spot for him to strategically go. I am not speaking from military mindset, just from what I've studied.
Yeah, I'm talking not from a civilian mindset. So from supply side, civilian, he'll have access, but from for trade and through fare. But a military presence in the Black Sea, no. I think we've seen enough of that. And honestly, Russia really doesn't have a naval presence that can sustain. The Kuznetsov literally got her hull split, and the rest of their military vessels are not necessarily abundant, minus their subs and their boomers. But there's no reason to put subs and boomers in the Black Sea. So I think that they will be a stand down of military presence in the Black Sea, because Ukraine is going to ask for that. They want autonomy. I think they'll give up Donbass. I think they'll give up the eastern side. It's predominantly Russian anyway. But that's just my gut. The logistics are immaterial. The point is that that's the way you get them to see peace, is you give them both what they want, but you get something out of it. You have NATO pay for it, and then you get energy for a cheaper price through Putin. That's basically it.
It just one thought process. The way that I view the world right now is again, go back to reading history. When did World War II start? Like the date.
Oh God, 1930. It's not
You're
8,
warm.
is it? 1930. Oh, fuck, man, I don't know. Just tell me.
I
I'm
believe
too
it was
tired.
6. I believe it was 1936. I have to. It's either 36 or 37, but it was when
36
Japan
okay,
invaded mainland China. Right.
That's what it is. That's right. We're going back to that. Not actually talking about Honolulu and Hawaii and Pearl Harbor,
right.
But yes, China. Yes,
but
you're
if you
Go
could
ahead.
point a finger back, looking back almost 100 years, which is crazy to say from that point.
Yeah, it is. It's very
then
crazy.
we would say, boom, right there, Japan invades China, and it was terrible. It was a brutal invasion, right? And then everything started to fall. Like a lot of people like to go back and say Hitler invading Poland was the start of World War II, or
No.
Pearl Harbor was the start of World War II. Well, it's really hard to say, isn't it? It's which way does the pendulum, swing tonight? It's kind of, what was the match that began to burn the fire? And my whole reason for the question, I suppose, I'm asking here is,
hold on a second.
is
Hold on a
World
second.
War III
Hold-
here?
You know what? Well, hold on. First of all, I want to challenge your premise. So, mainland China and Japan, two different things. They've been doing that since before we were a gleam, and Europe was still riding around and shitting with squires and lances. The Japanese Empire was one of the most brutal and violent ever in history. You asked me when World War II started. If we're going to go through that, then we have to go to the semantics of when it truly started, which I would believe with the Versailles Treaty, and basically taking Germany and castrating them and not putting them at the big boys table. They did that with Japan too. So after World War I, because I believe the Versailles Treaty is why Germany invaded Poland and why Germany had a burr up their butt and wanted to eliminate the Jews, because they believed that the Jews lost them World War I. So if we're going to do that, let's take it back even further. Yeah, we're in World War III.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, you being a Marine, it's kind of it's good.
I'm not a Marine.
Well,
fuck you. You're done. You're done, Montana. I'm cutting you off. Can't believe you did
Montana.
it. Not, I know. I called you Montana because that's you called me a Marine. So do you get it? Hello. I'm Navy, dude. I'm Navy, bro. It's all right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But corpsman, right?
I was not wait. I was not a corpsman. Were you in the military?
No, sir, I wasn't. I was just raised in the military.
Don't call me sir. Was not a corpsman. You can't figure out what I did after what I've just talked to you for the last 10 minutes and the way that I describe certain things. You can't tell what I did in the military?
I have an idea, but if I said it, it would be stupid. So
Try
no,
it.
my
Try
answer.
me. Try me.
I
What do you think?
mean, you stomped the ground, right? Like you were out there being a contractor, weren't you? At some point after the military, so you have
No, I did contracting work, but I didn't do Blackwater type shit. No, I worked in intelligence, but I worked with a particular group assigned to a particular team working NSWAG. So it's an interesting story, but not nearly as sexy as you want it to be. My intelligence career was pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, I'm still known in the community and the people who know me. But yeah, that's what I did. I worked in Intel. But anyway, go ahead.
You know shit, basically, right? It's the whole point. I can tell you're educated. I can tell that you study history. I can tell that you study strategy. You probably read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, 5 times at this point, right?
No, military war college. But that's where you learn a lot about Adolf Hitler too, because even though a complete maniacal, insane mother humper, strategy-wise, the Blitzkrieg of France was probably one of the greatest military movements of all time. So you study your opponent just like Sun Tzu, and yes, go ahead.
Give credit where credit is due is how I live my life. So you have to give that credit, right? So you look at all the stuff going on in the world right now. I have a weird feeling, though, that why we say that World War III has already started, the majority of the population doesn't understand that. And then that would be the people that are on TikTok today or Instagram, and they're just crying over the fact that Donald Trump was elected.
How do you define World War III? How do you define World War III? That's important for us to have a primer here. How do you define World War III?
A slow fizzling start to the end of the world as we know it. Not the end of the world, but a slow start of World War III is basically what I'm talking to. It's you have these armed combatants that are, you know what? Let me restate this, make it simpler.
Go ahead.
Look at an Axis versus the Allies. And there's an Axis that is officially, well, maybe not officially.
You have it. You have it. You have some of the similar remnants of World War I. You have Saudi Arabia, who has abandoned the petrodollar. Okay. I mean, this happened in Africa, and this is why we saw Gallipoli and we saw multiple battles over Libya and everywhere else. And so you're seeing similarities there. You're seeing the petrodollar abandoned by Saudi Arabia. You're seeing a new dollar and a new currency by Russia, North Korea, Iran, South Africa, and China, who are developing this new access. I will tell you that the next war, financially and for a real estate grab, will be on Africa. Africa will become one of the most
West China. I mean,
yeah, well, it will
literally.
be. Well, that's why, because they also understand that the one reason why Japan could not handle a 2-sea war is because they logistically could not do that without the islands. You're not going to take those islands back from the United States. But if you do build behind them, which is in Africa, it gives you a strait to pass. It gives you multiple channels to go through, and it gives you a very large landmass to basically, create, like you said, West China. So you'll see the western side of Africa and the eastern side of Africa get built up, and then you'll see the northern part. You'll see Europe and the Arab states try to go in and have more influence. This is where the next world war will happen, is Africa. And there's a reason why CENTCOM is there. And if you don't know what CENTCOM is, look it up and you'll figure it out.
I do not know. How do you spell that?
CENTCOM. Yeah, CENTCOM, Central Command. And I can't say any more than that, but I'm just telling you there's very large influence in the United States and Central Africa for a reason. And it's not only strategic, but it's economic at the same time.
Very interesting. All right. So, I mean, most of your viewers, they probably do know the fact that China has gone into Africa over the last, I don't actually know the year amount, probably 6+ years, going into Africa and saying, hey, we're going to build a port here and we're going to pay for it. But if you don't pay it off in X amount of years, then we get to take over all trade. I might be wrong there.
Listen, China's not the threat, Mike. China's not the threat.
What's the threat?
China wants economic dominance. China doesn't invade and destroy, and they fucked over the Tibetans. We understand that, and they've got into it with the Japanese. But the Japanese gave exactly what they got. And Japan has kicked the shit out of China multiple times throughout history. China is not an invading force. China has never breached into Russia or tried to. Mongolia is so far fucking removed that we don't even need to bring it up because it's not even modern society. When you're fighting with flaming arrows, it's not even comparable. But you can look that China has done things to influence and oppress, and they are a world power, but they don't want to rule the world from a militaristic standpoint because they've had the opportunities. They want to rule it financially, and that is their issue. And they're putting naval bases in Africa so they can lay claim to the land because they know that these natural resources. But China is in a world of hurt. They do not have an energy solution. They are not energy independent. They are energy dependent for all energy. Their cities, there's 9 wonderful cities in China that are beautiful and modern, but the rest of their entire country is downtrodden and poor. They're not financially in a great spot, and China has a food problem as well. So there's things that are holding China back from being an extension of a great additional buildup of military might. They can't fight a 2-continent war, and they're not capable.
Fair enough.
Logistically, they can't. So let's worry about Iran because if they get a fucking nuke, we're done.
I don't think Israel's going to let that one happen. I don't know why. It's just my gut instinct.
Israel has a bunker buster that is about 80% shy of reaching those areas. Israel's not going to do anything. The only people that can hit.
How did they take out the S-300 though?
That's a whole other conversation. Whole other conversation. What I'll tell.
Fair enough.
A whole other conversation. But what I will tell you is that Israel does not have the ability to hit their bunkers right now effectively, and that would take multiple redundancies. The only country that can hit the depths is the United States,
and we're not going to do that. And I get why. Until something terrible would occur, but
until they get close to build a nuke.
Yeah.
They're not close enough yet. They're not close enough.
But from the bird's eye view, though, like the whole reason I bring up the conversation is like looking at everything that is occurring. Okay, so you go to Ukraine, they're the wheat basket or the bread basket of the world, almost, right? Like what is that? 20+% of the wheat, and then Russia invades 2.5+ years ago.
Yep.
I remember hearing conversations about there were labs or something like that, some
bullshit.
scientific
It's
testing labs during COVID.
Complete
right?
bullshit.
Like
Hold on.
A lot of weird bad shit.
Hold on, Mike.
that
Mike,
tied together. Yes, sir.
Mike, let me address this because I went to war over this. At war clandestine is a cure, and I have fucking blown this guy up every day that he has taken breath since he reared his stupid fucking head. The bioweapon labs Ukraine story was complete bullshit. I have debunked that thing. Dude, I broke it down. I brought in geosynchronous tracking of the strikes, and the closest one to any base was like 50 kilometers. The map doesn't line up, and he didn't use hyperbaric bombs. He wasn't using high density bombs. If you hit a bioweapon lab, stage 4 and stage 5 viruses that are not incinerated completely with a hyperbaric bomb are going to kill everybody in the world. You release a level 4, level 5 virus by hitting it with a bomb, and you break the containment of that virus, we're all fucking dead. Ukraine does not have they do not have bioweapon labs. The bioweapon labs that are in the United States today, you don't know where they are. And the ones that are in the world today are extremely well protected. Wuhan is not a level 4, level 5 bioweapon lab. Those are guarded and graded like nukes. So I just wanted to make sure you mentioned it, and I had to shoot it down because that is one.
No, I had not heard that before. I'm glad that you mentioned it. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right, but go ahead.
I guess my simplified question then would be is how do we prevent World War III from actually becoming an open war, if you will, where the United States has boots on the ground? And look, if you're part of intelligence, I have this strange feeling that it's like, okay, yeah, we're probably doing some stuff, right? On the ground, probably to protect our assets. How do you think, and this is the reason I voted for Trump, it was the gut instinct of, I think he's going to prevent this. I just don't know how. So how would you do it? Or how do you think it can be done to prevent an all-out war with China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea against us and NATO?
Well, you have to have a stronger intelligence apparatus than all of those countries. And fortunately, we do, but we're not leveraging it correctly. First of all, China and Russia hate each other. Well, fucking hate each other. China is dad, and Russia is the redheaded stepson that nobody wants, nobody likes, but they need them right now because their currency is being laundered through China, and they're using that for energy. And that's why they're together. Iran is truly just to destabilize the Middle East. Nobody benefits except for the United States if Jews and Muslims stop fighting, because Jews, no matter what anyone says, and it's always funny whenever society throughout history, and you can go before Christ, whenever society tends to fail, the Jews are always blamed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You always blame the Jews. And this is what's happening now. But if you have the Jews have peace with Saudi Arabia, so goes the Middle East. Qatar, UAE, Egypt, Yemen, every one of them will fall, even Morocco. And which, although has Middle Eastern ties, are two different areas of theater. The one thing is Iran doesn't get along well with the Middle East. And the Shiites, the Sunnis, and the Kurds, and all this conflict that happens with these tribal nomads and these different belief structures, is Iran is absolutely the instigator in the Middle East for most conflicts. They went to war with Saudi Arabia. They went to war with Iraq. They have bombed Egypt. They have hit Yemen. This is why these proxies are here, is because of Iran making conflict and wanting to create dissension in their own country. So that is their biggest thing. So if you want to stop all this shit, North Korea, North Korea is now getting involved with Russia and supplying troops and all that other shit. They're going to give them, missile technology. North Korea couldn't fucking send up a flare properly. They're shitbags. But Iran is where it's at. And this is what you need to do, is Donald Trump will have 100% military access and generals who will listen to him. He's going to go in and clean house in the generals. His joint chiefs will be fresh blood. It'll be people who are red check marked, who are military commanders who are extremely loyal to the United States of America and the code of the military, the UCMJ, and the way you train soldiers. And what you do is he does what he did before to Iran, which was sanctions were crippling them. You cut off their cash flow, you cut off their banks. But most importantly, the thing that people don't understand is that he used the CIA a lot in Iran. And he was dropping off Apple phones. That's something you can't get. You can't get a phone to Iran, an Apple phone. They are embargoed and they're blacklisted. Apple, there's only 3 countries that they don't sell to: North Korea, Iran, and one other. And
I have a statement on that.
Okay. Give me that after I
My
finish
former
this.
landlord. Okay.
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead. No, just Mike, go ahead. I don't lose my train of thought. Give it to me.
Yeah, my former landlord was from Iran, and his father would come into town occasionally because he's trying to get citizenship. But the way that they do it is they have to go through. I'm trying to not give away too much, right? But like they got to go through a different country in the Middle East to get here, and then their passport has to say they left this country. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't just leave Iran and come to United States. You can't do it. You have to go from Iran to another country and get here. Point in case, he had an iPhone, but he had to get the iPhone when he came here.
Oh,
and then
dude.
he had to, there was a major issue with him getting his the SD card?
Yes.
Or the LTE, like whatever gives you your cell phone signal. That was a major problem for him when he came here initially. And he will sometimes even Facebook, like he has to go through a VPN to get a message out to me because he's a good guy. Like his dad's honestly a good guy, and he does not agree with the regime over there. And he'll tell me everything all the way down the line of, oh man, there's parties. It's basically block parties over there where they're making wine or vodka in the toilets because alcohol is basically prohibited.
Yeah,
and it's insane.
Mike,
but
let me jump
Iran,
on this.
though, has a serious situation where they have anti-air missiles, and that seems to be the one big deterrence that keeps everybody else.
Mike, where either you watch my show or you know somebody in the military. Which one?
Both. I'm telling you, I'm from a military family, Marine grandfather.
I understand, but the average dick doesn't know integrated air defense systems of Iran.
I love history, dude. I love military.
It's not history, Mike. Understanding the defense capabilities of Iran is not something that's openly known. So where are you getting your information? Not who.
YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, YouTube. Straightforward.
All right. So IADs are something that the average layman doesn't know. So I have to ask that question because Intel people like to fuck with Intel people. So when you start saying
I'm not Intel,
I know you're not fucking with me because I'm not only am I talking to you.
Me.
That's right. I'm not an idiot. I don't let people enter my orbit unless I try to find out as much as I can about them. And I'm listening to our conversation. I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I'm picking up things. So when you say IADS, it's going to immediately say, wait a second, because you're right. Integrated air defense system, but also their minds and their capabilities that they have. Iran is a defensive country, and this is what makes it an issue. What you do, and by the way, I used to work for Apple, so I had 5 years at Apple. You know that, okay? Holy shit. So how long have you been watching my show, Mike?
About 3 months now, maybe 4.
Okay. All right. So working at Apple, they would come in and they would say, when the first phones were released, iPhone 4 and 5, I want 5,000 of them. And we had no limits. And so we would just sell them 5,000 phones. All of those were going to Iran and North Korea. So I know how it works. MS-13 would come in and rob them from the stores and then sell them over to Iran. So this completely happens. This is why we created the Xinjiang store in the first $1 billion store in Apple history in Xinjiang, China, is that we were buying them by the boatload and selling phones. And that stopped a lot of the crime, and it stopped a lot of the people coming in and buying all the U.S. phones because China has that relationship where they will put them into Iran. All right, quickly. And then I got to go because my wife's going to cut my nuts off.
Yes, sir.
Iran, this is where it starts. You want to stop this regime? You want to stop this access of evil that you're talking about? You have to go ahead and create a coup in Iran. And the coup that needs to take place needs to be done by the people, because there's so many forms of leadership: the Shah, the Ayatollah, the clerics, and then obviously the leadership that has proxy through the IRGC, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Yemenis Brigade, the Houthis, it's Hamas, etc., are all run by Iran. So if you don't cut the head off the snake, those proxies are going to monopolize your time and interrupt any peace deal. Now, people ask about October 7th. It's for Palestine. No, it's not. It was to interrupt Saudi Arabia and Israel from signing the Abraham's Accord and essentially ending the war in the Middle East and finally upgrading the Middle East into a very civilized and progress moving forward society. That's what was going to take place. So you have to essentially destroy the command and control of Iran. And the only way you do that is internally. They need a revolution. It's going to take money. It's going to take us dropping off, in the old days, of pamphlets and leaflets. It's going to be Americanizing them like we did South Korea. And eventually it will work. But we have got to get ahead of the race for the nuclear weapon. And the only way you do that is to create civil unrest in Iran and have the leadership removed. And we can only do that with a revolution. So Trump was doing that actively. I don't know if you know this, but he was dropping off phones from high altitude aircraft, was dropping off pamphlets and Western ideology and, books and the anarchist cookbook and shit like that. I mean, I'm not kidding. This was all CIA. And the CIA has
banned that book in the United States.
I have no comment.
The anarchist cookbook.
Yeah, I can't speak about that. I have no, I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it. Don't know what that is.
Never heard of it either. I just only know like two guys who shot a deer out of season 5 years ago in South Georgia got arrested because they had quote unquote pipe bombs built.
I have no idea. I don't know what that is. There's another book that I won't even mention online because I'm not going to get flagged, but it's better than that thing. But I can't talk about that. Anyway, listen, man, I really like our conversations, and you need to come in and put your face on camera. So when's that going to happen?
I'm not afraid to do it. Yeah, just let me know.
You should. Let's have you on here. Let's get Leroy and Amy on and bring Livia, and you can come on and just be a guest. And this is how Leroy came on the show full time, is that he was really good at talking. You're good at it. You have you connect the dots. You're patient. You let me finish. It's hard because I talk a lot. But you present well, and you should come on and maybe you start helping out on the show a little bit or something.
I would love to be part of it, my man. But have a great night. Look, you've got a very smart family. Your son, very intelligent. I wish I was that smart at 10. You've done a great job as a father. One day, I hope that I can be one as well. But you are a light to this world, truthfully. 31, almost 32. Yeah.
You don't have a girlfriend?
I'm a bit late.
That's okay.
My girlfriend, she unfortunately she moved down to Tampa about 2 years ago, and after we moved into a house together, so this is what I do. I do work and I do politics, and yeah, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this. I'm nowhere without my wife, and she is someone who I am so hard on because she has such high expectations for me that I elevate my expectations for her. And she has no aspirations other than to be my wife and to be a great mom. She humbles me, man. And what's funny is that every day I wake up, I'm so fortunate, man. I'm so very, very fortunate because there was times in our lives where I just couldn't, we couldn't stand each other sometimes, but she's my rock, dude. So you'll find it. And when you do, you will not be the same man. She will mature you. She will crush you. She'll uplift you. But women are amazing, and I adore her.
I love them. And two nights ago, I don't know if you picked up what I was putting down when I said there are no internal arguments, which is why one of the reasons I love the show between you and Olivia. It's the fact that you clearly steer the ship of the show, but when you talk, people listen, and it has nothing to do with misogyny. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that you are well respected, which means you're a good husband, which is ideal for anybody. It should be anybody in their 30s like me that are trying to find a lady to get married. And then your son tonight, you're a great father. The dude, you are challenging him. Like, I don't understand if you see that from somebody else's view. Like, that's to be respected, and that is Americana right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 2.5 kids with the white picket fence and a dog family. And we've gotten away from that. That's not how I was raised. So this is why I love listening to the show, my man.
Well, we love that you love it, and we appreciate you, and I thank everybody. And we hit our goal tonight, and that means a lot too, because that keeps us going. Hey, that extra $6 was worth it, because I don't mind that we were on for 4 hours tonight, because holy shit, we were on for 4 hours tonight. I got to go. Thanks for tonight, buddy. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody, that is Mike, not from Montana. It's Mike from Georgia. He's a good dude, and hopefully we'll get him in here. And everybody, listen, the offer is always open. I want people in. I'd love to have him on the show. There was no disrespect to John. I hope he's not offended. I like him, and I like everybody here. I never want to insult, but John Haggart, he's a good dude. I hope he didn't take offense. I really don't. But if he did, we'll move on and we'll figure it out. But thanks for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's Friday. It's Red Friday. Veterans Day on Monday. Red Friday tomorrow. And I'll probably be on in the AM if there's some things to talk about, but I'm going to go shove off. We'll see you tomorrow night. It's going to be a great show. Leroy, myself, Olivia, and maybe we'll have another guest. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I appreciate you. And remember, believe what you want, have an opinion about what you want, but if you're going to say something is true, you better have the facts, because that is how we are going to get out of this mess. It's going to be a long day to Inauguration Day, and I'll be with it and be with you. Talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.